We are here to bring you everything and anything surrounding Porsche. I'm Mike.
I'm Aaron.
And this is P-Car Talk. Welcome to another episode of P-Car Talk. I'm Mike.
And I'm Aaron.
And we're at the Brumos Collection with our special guest, Don Leatherwood. Thank you for being on the show. You are a legend. Yeah. We are honored to have you on. You have so much race knowledge and history, and we can't wait to pull some of it out of you today. You know, long career, like a long background in Porsche and racing. And like you said, you worked at Porsche as a master mechanic and, you know, electrician and all those things. And let's start from the beginning because we have a lot of listeners that maybe don't know, which they should, but we'll give them an education about Brumos and like your background and how that came to be and where you started with Porsche and how you progressed into Porsche and racing with Brumos and how did you get on the team and all that kind of stuff.
Well, I'm pretty old, so it was a long time ago.
You don't have to date the dates, but yeah.
I was in the service, and I was a guidance section technician, Nike Hercules.
Okay.
We ended
what branch?
Up with Army.
Okay.
Nice.
And
thank you for your service.
Yeah.
Thank you. But this is early 70s. I thought I'd end up in Vietnam, but I ended up in northern Italy. And
that's a nice trade-off.
It was great. And being a motorcycle buff, they got the best motorcycles, and I ended up kind of slipping one past the goalie and did the honorable thing, and that was 44 years ago. So,
it kind of worked out then.
Yeah, having the wife I've got, she likes motorcycles and she likes sports cars, so that
worked out. Well, if she's Italian, that's probably it's in her DNA, right?
It is in her DNA. That's exactly right. But once I got back, there wasn't a lot of jobs available for guidance section technicians.
Imagine that, huh?
I went to work at an insurance company. My dad had sold insurance for Liberty National, and I got his old debit. My mother was so thrilled, and I ran into an old friend of mine that we used to race motorcycles together, and he was at Porsche, or at working at a brand new dealership in Knoxville, Tennessee. That's where I'm from, Knoxville. Okay. And Rogers Cadillac had bought the Porsche dealers franchise. And I said, Porsche? He says, it's a big motorcycle. It's just a big air-cooled. Yeah. So I quit the insurance business, and we started going to school to get an allocation of cars. They had to train a bunch of people. And our schools were in Jacksonville.
Okay.
At the old Volkswagen outfit over off Liberty Street. And Don Hawkins and Willie Porter and some of the old guys would remember those instructors.
Mm-hmm.
But it was kind of, I remember I used to come to Jacksonville and I used to think, God, that city stinks. And they had a paper bill here. And it literally stunk.
Yeah.
And, once you go across the bridge, you get over towards the beach. I said, cross the bridge. And I'd been down here several weeks.
Wait, beach?
Bridge. And so the next time I crossed the bridge and went to the beach, and wow, that's not too bad. And when I did, I passed the Brumos. I saw the red, white, and blue. I think it was a 934. It was sitting in the front window on the showroom floor.
Yeah, that's eye-catching.
And it's like, wow, I remember that. Because it was kind of it was a famous livery. And it was American and Haywood. I remember Haywood because Leatherwood and Haywood.
Yeah.
But anyway, a long story short, I ended up, I won this Southern, in our region, you take these little tests, mechanic challenge tests, and I happened to win that, and you got to be like honorary pit crew member. Okay. And Al Hobart gives you a little plaque, and you're
nice.
So I end up at Daytona. It's 1979, and I thought I was going to get to work on Al Hobart's team. And I get there, and the guy said, "Oh, well, we got plenty of people, but you're going to work on this team." And I went over there. Here's this big, long-haired guy sitting up against the 935, a black car. Well, it was Ted Fields. I had no idea, but it was Ted Fields. And then I went, oh, that's Danny and Guys, because I kind of kept up with IndyCar.
Yeah.
And then the other one was Hurley Haywood. And I said, Haywood, that's the guy with the red, white
You're like,
car.
I recognize that car. Yeah, I recognize that name.
But anyway, my job was to drive the Taylor Dunn. So I drove that Taylor Dunn. We got in it. It was kind of crowded on a Saturday morning. You know how it is in Daytona on a Saturday morning. And I made it down to Goodyear, and he says, well, you're trained. That's good enough. You didn't run over anybody. So we loaded it with tires.
The good old days,
took it back to the pits. And probably 30 trips back and forth during the night. Come the next morning, we could win. And sure enough, Hurley won that race. Hurley and Danny Geis and Ted Fields in the
That's awesome.
the black Interscope car.
And that's your first experience with
exactly.
it. It's like, oh man, where
and
do you
Hurley
go from there?
goes,
Right?
Tampa, you need to come up. So I come up to Jacksonville, and I figured I could go to JU, GI Bill, and go to work at Brumos.
Sounds like an awesome plan to me.
Yeah, and I talked to Siggy Marlin, who was a legend. He was the 42nd employee at the Porsche factory. He made Brumos. He was Siggy Marlin's been there forever.
I recognize him.
Yeah, and if you go in here, you'll see him on the pictures, a few of them. He was back with Brundage days, and he came over here. He was a manager of the transmission department in Germany, and he came over with the Spiders, and Hubert Brundage got a hold of him, and he was. But anyway, he hired me, and I needed an electrician. That's good. And this was like 80, and it was the proliferation of electronics had kind of started getting into cars. So
that makes sense. It's almost kind of one of those things. It's like nobody else wanted to learn it, but they wanted to find the guy who knew it.
Well,
and it was like, you're the guy who knows it. Don't tell me about it. I don't want to know about it. You figure it out. You're the guy.
Yeah, no escaping it. I mean, it was funny. I remember one day I had a Sportomatic, first Sportomatic I'd ever seen, and I did a service on it, and I drove it down the road, and I come back, and I'm crawling underneath it, looking, and Siggy comes over and says, "What's the matter?" It don't shift. Just get in the car. So we're heading down Lee Road. That was over off Atlantic Boulevard. Mm-hmm. And when I shifted, sure enough, I didn't take my hand off the shifter. Mm-hmm. And they got these little micro switches that tell that clutch, the diaphragm, to pull the clutch in. And he knocked my hand off the shifter, and it shifted into second gear. So we go back, and he brings the book down, and he says, "You read this, and tomorrow morning you're going to tell me how it works."
Okay.
Well, we did a lot of Sportomatics around Florida for that, and then most of it was, it's basically like a 901 manual gearbox, but it's just basically a vacuum-operated clutch. And
I didn't know that it knew your hand was still on that thing.
Yes, it has little micro switches, and they feel it when you shift, and they tell it to. It's like
that's crazy.
Nowadays we have strain gauges.
You just educated me. I didn't know that.
That was the majority of the problems with Sportomatics was micro switches out of adjustment. But anyway, I ended up staying at Brumos, and Bob Snodgrass was just a great guy to work for and be around. And,
we love Bob. Bob's such an awesome guy.
He was, and then Hurley, that's about the time Hurley was doing some IndyCar stuff, and then he hurt his leg.
I remember that, when he had that bad wreck, and he had and he was out of racing for a little while because of that.
Well, he drove a Jaguar with Tullius for a while, the 44
I do remember
car,
that.
because it was a Hewland box, and he didn't need the clutch other than leaving the pit. So he drove. Porsche gave him their praise and said, go ahead. And so Hurley did that for a few years until he got back into the Porsches. Yeah. But I guess his next big deal was when Dan Davis bought the company in '89, kind of a prerequisite, we're going back racing. Mm-hmm. And
which is awesome.
Yes.
I'm sure you were happy to hear that. Like you're like, yes.
Well, we worked for Dennis Ossie. We did the Roar thing. We did Tim Ralston's little car. But Dennis Ossie was an awesome guy to work for, and Bob would always let some of his Brumos crew guys go out and do that when we weren't racing ourselves. And
which is great.
But when it came back, so we got the supercar. We got the one that Dave Murray and Hurley did in the one lap. Remember when they started the one lap around America, and they'd stop at racetracks and run this car. So Porsche says, "You take that car," and it was like a maroon car. We basically painted it white, and that was a fun time. Taking a street car, and it kind of had to remain a street car. We showed up at the first race. Well, the reason this happened, we're at Savannah testing, and Albert Springer's there, and Hurley leaves out of the pits. We're doing some adjustment, and there's some water on the ground. And Alwyn Springer says, "What's this?" About that time, Jim Bailey comes on the radio. "Hurley, do you have the AC on?" Hurley goes, "Well, it's hot." So Hurley's out there testing.
So Hurley.
He's got the AC. Yes, it is so Hurley.
That's
exactly.
so Hurley.
But so when we showed up in Miami with it, we took the compressor and everything off.
Just so we couldn't.
So
do
they
that
come in
again.
and they says, "Where's your AC compressor?" Well, so we had to rob one off another car,
Really?
and put it on.
Because you had to have it on.
You had
huh?
to have a car
Okay.
AC compressor on there. And
jeez.
so the next race we
Hurley's
had an
probably like,
AC compressor.
See?
I'm with Hurley on that. I like AC.
Yeah, well, I think the next race the compressor was just a pulley at that point.
Yeah, exactly.
For show.
Anyway, we
it's
had
hot. It's a race car, whatever.
and it was just great having the red, white, and blue car back on the track.
Yeah.
We had competition, had the Consoleers. I remember coming back to Miami and said, "What the hell is a Consoleer?"
Yeah.
And it was.
What is that?
It looked like the box it came in. It wasn't a very attractive car, but
Uh-huh.
it was a local built car, and it was pretty quick. And then, of course, you had Doc Bundy in the Lotuses.
Yeah.
And they run that Garrett turbocharger about this big around.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, it looked like a pool floaty in there. Like, it's so big.
but it was a good chance for Hurley to get back out. He won the championship in '91. In '91, he won the driver and the manufacturer's championship. In '92, we just won the manufacturer's championship. Doc Bundy won the driver's championship. And in '93, Hans Stuck had driven with us a few times before. And your job was to take care of Hurley. You know,
Yeah.
we had Walter Rule and Hans Stuck and,
Yeah.
and Joe Vardy and Bobby Carradine and even Chuck Knowles, who was the Assistant Secretary of the Interior back then.
That's insane.
He drove with us a couple of times, but
That's pretty cool, though.
they would drive the 58 car.
Okay.
But the last year, Hans was going to come back and drive the 58 full time. He said, "Now, couldn't I win?" Yes, you can win. And he did a lot of it.
Yeah, a lot of women.
And of course, we brought Colucci in. We always brought Mike Colucci in. It seems like when we wanted to get serious, and he ran that car, and I got to work with him a lot. So, working with Hans you were pretty much hooked at that time. And
Yeah.
Norbert Singer would come around and Roland Kuzmal, because that car kind of turned in '94. It turned into the LM car. You know, they put a flat fan in the back and ran it, and we won the championship at Watkins Glen. Hurley came back from Le Mans after winning in '94.
Yeah.
In the last 962, the Dower car.
Yeah.
And I mean, a week later, he comes to Watkins Glen, and him and Hans win the GT championship in
That's insane.
that Brumos car. So,
What was it like when Hurley started, like when he was racing with Peter, and like he made that like leap to start racing prototypes, and then Peter really wasn't racing prototypes? What was that time like at Brumos? Like, would Hurley go race some of that stuff and then come back and like do some other racing with you guys? And like, was he kind of like back and forth? Like, how did that go?
well,
like
he
that?
was always there, but he did have some different interests when it come to some of the races. I mean, Peter was kind of finding himself there towards the end. And, 77. To me, that's the year that made Hurley Haywood.
Yeah.
He wins Daytona in the last normally aspirated air-cooled car to win that race, the
Yeah.
43 car.
Exactly.
Escargot, the snail, they call it,
Yeah.
the team snail. And it was quite a feat. He drove the car for like an 8-hour period that night. They got out of the
That's
car
insane.
once. We put a blanket up. He went behind it, and they changed his helmet.
Stuff you never hear about nowadays, right?
Oh,
Like,
well, now you got
Yeah, of
driver
course.
ID and
Yeah,
all
yeah.
that.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I think IMSA probably knew it.
Yeah.
But as long as he was doing good out there, they weren't going to say anything.
Yeah.
But he wins that race and then goes to Le Mans and gets put in the car with Jackie Hicks in the 936 and wins at Le Mans. Let me tell you, if that doesn't write your ticket
Yeah,
for Porsche.
I was gonna say rock star for legend, right? Like instantly.
And but he always kept his roots at Brumos, so
Okay.
that was a good thing. I mean, he didn't like run up. He did the Audi thing for a bit. Him and Hans Stuck did the Quattros in '88.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. I remember you said he could just pretty much drive anything too, like
Hurley-
wounded car. It
yes,
didn't matter.
he was so good, but he didn't really know. I remember the Roar car. We're gonna get back to the Roar car. We're practicing, and I put a right front strut on it, and I think John Wright, one of the kids that's a crew chief now, did the other front tire. And he goes out a lap or two, and Hurley comes on the radio and says, I can't drive this car. Something's wrong with the front of it. So we're stomachs up in our mouth. We're thinking, well, what did we do? So the car comes in the pits, and I look over there, and I'm looking at my stuff. All looks good. I look over the fender, and it's all looking, everything's good. I hear Jim Bailey come on the radio. Hurley, your left rear tire's gone. What do you mean it's gone? It's gone. You got sidewalls, that's all. So they put a tire on it. Hurley goes out a couple laps, kind of comes on the radio, and says, I guess that got it, guys. But
That's better.
Hey, it feels a lot better now.
you know, I'm going to tell you, I think in all racing, and especially with Brumos, this is a kind of a key. If you've got a guy that's really, he really looks at the data, and he's really could qualify the car, and he's just really into it, like Peter Gregg was. And then you put a seat of the pants guy. You got to have them both.
Yeah.
We had it with David Donahue and Darren Law.
Yeah, good pairing, right?
We had it with Andrew Davis and Lee King.
Yeah.
And you put a real methodical guy in the car that thinks about everything, and then he qualifies the car really well, and then when the first stint is over, he gives you a car in a good position on the lead lap.
Exactly.
And then you put a guy in there that
Then you get your
Just
hot rod
not
in
being
there.
there.
Yeah, you get your hot rod in there. It's like, dude, I'll drive this thing till it blows up.
and that was Lee, and, or Hans,
Yeah.
or Darren was just a great driver, but him and Donahue was a tremendous pair.
Lee's an awesome driver. He's still fast.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
he's a rocket,
Yeah.
and he loves a loose car. So you know, I think he'd make a good rally driver.
Oh yeah,
but
I think he would have been fantastic at it. I mean, he's building those off the safari cars
he
now,
is.
and he's loving it.
He took our safari car out on the property out here. There was one spot he was doing 105 mile an hour in the dirt, just flying. So they went over to trying to find a place that he could get air, and I think he got air, but I think we towed the car back. He didn't hurt it, but I think it ended up with a problem.
That sounds like Lee.
The guy's a Goldcrest. We did the Daytona prototypes for a long time. That started 2002. We found out about it. We went to Dave Clem's, which we'd known a long time. Dave Clem's fabulous at Fab Car, and basically built the first Daytona prototype. And that was. Well, that's not a Porsche. It was a pretty cool program. Let's face it, it lasted a long time. It
did.
kept the interest of road racing alive in America. Whether you liked the Daytona program.
I agree. I totally agree, because everybody was longing for something fresh, right? And that's what it was.
And it was supposed to be a program that you could run these prototypes and not spend so much money, but just like all racing.
Yeah, okay.
I remember we started
slope,
out,
right?
We started out with weather packs. I mean, NASCAR still uses it's a good electrical connector.
Yeah.
It works with waterproof. Then we got to use mil spec connectors. We'll use the auto sport connectors. And it just kept getting more and more expensive. But
I thought this was supposed to be affordable. This is bankrupting me now.
and that's true. But the series went really good, and we did a Fab Car for a good while, and then of course the Riley chassis was what everybody was using. We ended up going to the Riley chassis, and it's funny. The reason we ran a 6-cylinder was because of Bob.
Okay.
You know, we were a Lexus dealer at that time, and we could have very well ran a Lexus V8, and TRD was really behind the program, and Ganassi had big success running a Lexus. But Bob says, no, we're going to run a Porsche. We're Brumos, and we're going to run a Porsche.
Nice.
And you don't have anything other than a 6-cylinder, so that's what we're going to run. So they had to make some changes. We got a different RPM than they got, but we're all governed about 530 horsepower, something like that. And so I remember one of them was powered up BMW. I think they ran a whole season without pulling the heads. I mean, they're running these things at such low horsepower for what the car can
I was going to
actually
say,
do.
it's like basically dialed so far down. It's like, it's fine.
It's fine, exactly. But we ran our cars a little harder. And they were basically GT3R motors. And,
You guys know.
and it was a fun program. It got to the end. We wanted to run a V8, and we found a Cayenne motor.
Okay.
Zano Brothers took it over and kind of converted it, and that was our last year running Daytona prototypes, and it won
With the Cayenne motor.
It won with the Cayenne motors. We won in
So you hear it,
09.
guys, Cayenne motor.
Yeah.
Done.
We did good. But that's still because Porsche was not going to let us run a V8. They said not to.
Yeah.
We're a dealer.
Yeah.
And that was 58 and 59. Well, that race, that car became the number 9 car. And had Action Express on it and had the German colors. And then we ran the 59 the way it was.
Okay.
In 2010.
Got it.
And that was the reason. It would have still been the 59 car, but since it had a motor in there that Porsche did not want in the car.
That's crazy. Talk about that a little bit because they still had, even though you were a dealer and you guys were basically, you had Porsche's blessing, so to speak, but you guys were racing under your own accord, under your own dollars, whoever was owning the businesses at that time, but yet they were still okay in things that you could and couldn't do from a racing standpoint. That's kind of nuts, right? Like you guys had to make sure that you guys were okay in the blessing of the mothership, essentially, right?
That's exactly right. Obviously this Cayenne motor worked out pretty good. You would think that, but we had to kind of follow their direction. And Dan Davis probably did the smart thing. He says, look, let's just run a GT car, go back to our roots, race what we sell.
Yeah.
And so 2011, we went back to GT racing. And you think, well, you're going down a class. It was harder. We actually got the guys, Bob Sanderson and Cosgrove and the guys from Goldcrest to help us out.
Yeah.
And because they'd been GT racing and very successful. And they run the first 3 races with us. And it was a godsend for us, to be honest with you. But
why was it so difficult? Was it because everybody was so, tight? Like they were so tight with everything?
Exactly. It's just a different world. There's things you could end up doing with prototypes that you just couldn't do to this factory car.
Yeah, so your limitations were kind of handcuffing you, essentially?
Plus, we just didn't have the experience to do it. And there was a lot of retooling. There was a lot of factory tools you got to do to set these cars up.
So you had to do a lot of relearning, essentially.
Exactly. Racing is the same.
Yeah.
But preparing that
but setting the car up, right?
Everything in between that's
it's a new car to you. You had to set it up proper. There's a way to set it. Okay, that makes sense.
Well, we brought Skip Shinsing in, and he knew a lot of people, and we gathered some guys together. This was kind of towards the last of the Goldcrest involvement. And lo and behold, we get to the last race of the year. We're doing good in the championship. I think we were 3rd in points. And we go out to qualify that morning, and the car doesn't run.
No.
So it's 1
the
o'clock
worst
in the
nightmare.
morning, the night before the race. We find the problem with the car. We get it fixed, not knowing that it was going to really run, because we're going out the next day to race. We can't run it again, and we had to start at the back.
Yeah, because
and
you had
Andrew brought the car up to 4th in his stint.
Wow.
And we came into the pits with, the Camaro should have won the Stevenson car, and they went off track, tore the car up bad enough that they couldn't finish.
Oh,
so now
wow. So they got a DNF, huh?
Us and the Mazda.
nice.
Okay.
And I tell you, I don't think that Mazda would have got around Lee Keen. If it did, there would have been a lot of black paint on that 911, I'm telling you. But
That doesn't surprise me one bit.
Lee did a phenomenal job, and we just
Not
backtracked.
happening.
That's it.
Make that car 10 wide.
We were at Watkins Glen once, and Doc Bundy, it's a supercar days, and Doc Bundy was asking Walter Rule if you wasn't really blocking, were you? And Walter said, no, I was not. It was a driving chicane.
Nice.
But, and that was kind of Brumos' key to a lot of their victories. They got real drivers.
Well, yeah. You think about the history. You named off some of the history of the legends that raced for Brumos. Like all of the guys, there was a good balance. I think it was a great selection, right? You have a very analytical guy like Peter Perfect, right? You want everything to be right. The car has to be perfect. And then you got a guy like Hurley. It's just like, give me a shopping cart. If the tires last, I'll drive it around the track all night. Like whatever it takes.
That's perfect, and that's exactly what it was. I
Yeah.
mean, the two were. Hurley just do whatever it took when he got in the car. I think when they first met, Hurley kind of spanked Peter at a little autocross in his
Yeah,
Corvette.
I remember
And,
hearing about that. Yeah, and like Peter approached him and was like, "Hey,
you got to be good to beat me." You
yeah,
know, 'cause he
total
was,
like. Well, I mean, everybody knows Peter was arrogant, right? Peter was the best. If he wasn't the best, and if there was somebody who actually beat him, and that guy had to be great if you beat Peter. Like that's just basically what it was. And Peter was fast, so that and Hurley's fast too. So he was right by assessing Hurley to say you are fast because you beat me.
Oh yeah. Well, I think he didn't know why. Mm-hmm. And I think Peter saw that, but Peter then knew that's what you need. You need a guy like Peter because he was the teams. He used to get the mechanics and stand them in a row and check their uniforms.
Really?
He had that, in racing.
Almost like open ranks, like in military.
The number 59 was because it was on the four-star.
Uniforms not starched.
That's it. Collar's
10
not right, or you've got
10
many
push-ups.
buttons. He wouldn't like me having this button undone here, probably. But he brought a lot of the kind of regiment you have in the military to racing.
Well, I mean, you think about it like, and you've been around it a long time. There's all types of teams, right? There's teams that are the guys that go out and just get hammered drunk, and it can reflect. If you want to win, you really do. And it kind of goes, if you think about it, to Porsche's ethos too. Like as a company, they're very regimented. They know what they want to do, and they're very perfectionist about what they do when they do it. So it makes sense that it kind of translated to Peter too, where him being involved as a Porsche dealership and having that involvement and like adopting that and have that personality. It makes sense why he married with Porsche so well.
I think that was Bob's biggest thing too. Bob adored Peter. I don't know about adored, but he was a kind of an idol of his.
Yeah.
And he was towards Peter kind of the same way I was with Bob.
Yeah.
And but
Let's talk about Bob a little bit.
When Peter passed, Bob, they kind of thought that Bob should take over the reins of the general manager because he already had a rapport with Porsche being the sales manager.
Yeah.
For one. And so it really worked out good. And then Deborah kind of found herself, and she was pretty successful racing. I thought Deborah was great. She was,
absolutely.
But
so like when Bob, like I like the story that we talked about off record a little bit. When Bob kind of like came into the trailer the first time and was like, you guys were introduced to Bob. Can you just kind of take us through all of that when your first kind of encounter with him, and was like, because Bob's a character, obviously. He's a big dude, and he was just a lot of presence. And how was that like when you first met him? You were like, okay, how's this going to go?
Bob was a little bit intimidating, I suppose. It's a funny story. The first time I had met Bob, but I mean the first time that I really realized that this guy was a little different. We were at the shop, and it was about lunchtime, and all these suits were there, and they were waiting on Bob to go out to dinner or lunch. And Bob shows up, walks right past them, and goes over to the F&I guy, and he goes, "There's a kid over at Mercedes that wants to buy a car on the lot. He's having a hard time. Make sure he gets that car." And then he turned around and he's Bob with all these guys. And I'm thinking, he came in there, bypassed all these guys, and went right over, and he's going to make sure one of these mechanics over at Mercedes that wanted a certain car out there got it.
That's awesome.
And I'm thinking
that just
to myself,
shows you what kind of character he is,
exactly.
Right?
And I'm thinking, this guy, but Bob was a little different. He had an E500 Mercedes, and we used to, they started off in second gear, but there was some modifications you could do when they would start out in first gear. And Bob would come out, and right before he'd leave Mercedes and loop around Porsche so he could drive by the front of the Porsche store. And he would stop there and just light them up. And I remember this guy, boy,
I wonder where Harris gets it from.
Exactly. Harris, just like his dad. And like you said, the older he gets, the more he looks like him.
Yeah, but, that's awesome. He's lighting it up, doing a burnout out in front.
Oh, that's Bob. This guy says, "Well, I heard the owner could really get." I said, "Well, that's who that is.
Yeah,
you
you're
don't
like,
have to worry.
that is the owner, so whatever.
It's okay.
Bob was so great.
He's allowed to do
and
it.
he would get to laughing sometimes, and he couldn't hardly breathe. And we would think, I mean, this guy, but
He's going to keel over.
and he had a passion for motorcycles. That's probably my passion as
Okay.
well. So we really
So you
hit it
guys
off
bonded
there.
over motorcycles then?
We'd go to Bike Week every year.
Nice.
Bill France would give him his motorhome spot right at the old tunnel in
Really?
Daytona, right where security used to be. So
Yeah.
he was the first. But his motorhome was right at the tunnel, and Bob would bring all his bikes.
The
and
money
line 'em
spot,
up out
huh?
there. Oh yeah, it was great. I don't think he left it.
Yeah.
He'd get a different bike out
Oh,
every day
of
and put
course.
around a little
Of
bit
course.
and come back and sit down there. But he did that every week, and it was a big thing for him. And so Daytona was kind of a sanctuary
Yeah.
for Bob.
Yeah, it makes sense. He did a lot of HSR and amateur racing, you were saying, too, right?
Very
Like-
good driver. He used to think that if he was a second slower than Hurley at a mile, so like if it's a 2.5 mile track, he was 2.5 seconds slower. He felt like he was doing good.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And he was a very good amateur driver. I mean, and there were a lot of them. Bretzel, Dave White. There was a lot of good drivers out there, but yeah, Bob was good. And he had a little Chevron. That's where he really got kind of serious. And of course, it was Mazda powered. Well, Mazda's a fabulous road race engine, but it lacks one thing. There's no engine brake. So when you're downshifting, it's not like a Porsche or most any car that you can.
Yeah.
So you're just
Yeah,
going to
take
be
some
all over
speed
the
out,
brakes. And I can remember Bob having a hard time with that. Well, we go to the first driver's school. This is back in 1985, and we started this our little driver's school. It went for a long time, and it was a Savannah, and we go up, and Bob puts me in his Chevron. And he told me he was going to spin me before the weekend was out. But he thought that would be in a 944, not the Chevron. But he drops a wheel off about turn 3 over there, and here we go.
Oh, no.
But I'm going to tell you, that was the first time I went to, I lived in Italy and East Tennessee. I can drive. I got to that first driver's school, and I found out I didn't know anything.
Yeah.
Bob threw me in the car when we first got there. The ambulance wasn't even there yet. The track really wasn't even open. Bob says, get in. He had a 450 SL.
Okay.
And here we go. And I'm thinking, he's not going to make this turn. And I've got a hold of some stuff. And he just scrubbed a little speed off and went around the corner. And we didn't go a lap. And I'm going, this guy can drive.
You're like, okay.
Well, towards the end of the day, I'm in the RSR with Hurley Haywood, and then I really knew nothing.
Yeah.
And the guy's doing a $150 at Roebling with his arm out the window, smoking a cigarette. So
Bored.
and this is middle 80s, but it was
Bored.
Yep.
Yeah, we're good. And then brakes. Brrr.
I think it was about the next year in '86. I graduated, and I thought, well, AT&T had a field engineer opening, and I remember Bob says, "You'll be a number. You got to stay here. You'll be a number there."
Yeah.
And
He's right.
I listened to him.
Yeah, he's right.
Good.
He's right for 100%. I mean,
It's
good for you.
great water.
Yeah, it is good water, isn't it?
Delicious.
Yeah. So, obviously, Bob, if you guys don't know that are listening and watching, he was a very tall man and a big man on top of that too. So, did you guys ever have any problems getting him into any of these cars, or you had to do these adjustments
question.
and like?
You got to look at the 914. The last race car Bob had, he ended up racing it.
Yeah, the
back
one
in
that's
the
back
day.
at Harris has. Now,
Harris
right?
has it now.
Yeah.
And if you look underneath it, we have chopped the floorboard down, and there's a box that sticks out about 2 inches. And that's just to get his head under the row bar. And if you look, there's like an extra little row bar above the regular row bar.
Okay.
All for Big Bob.
For Bob, yeah.
Hurley gets in it, and he disappears.
Yeah, I was about to say, it's like.
We had a pillow for Hurley. Do you have my cushion? Yes, Hurley, we have your cushion. His cushion and his chewing gum. We used to always take all these drivers have crazy little stuff. Roberto Moreno drove one of the 24-hour races with us, and we had a fog delay. They were like red flagged in the pits, but they couldn't get out of the car. It was because of the fog, and they were waiting. And Moreno comes on the radio and says, I got to go pee. Can I go pee? And Bob Snugger says, no, you can't. You got to stay in the car. You can't get out of the car. And he says, well, you need to bring me a bottle down here. So they had those little, remember the little Monty Clave or the little Monty, whatever, the little vitamin things, little bitty bottle. And so I got that. I told Bob, I'm going to run down. Oh, yeah. So I run down pit lane and I go out to the car and I say, here's your little buzzes. He goes, yeah, you're fine. Your mechanics are real funny, Bob, real funny. But, yeah, all this stuff. Max Pappas was a hoot to drive with us. Just characters. They're all good. Lucas Luer.
Yeah.
Sasha Masha. When those guys were just, but they were serious race drivers. David Donahue.
Yeah.
I get people, well, he wasn't Mark. He was pretty good.
Yeah.
David Donahue does a great job, and he could set a car up. He's a real methodical guy. And Scott Goodyear, Scott Sharp, they drove the Daytona prototype the first year with us. It was a funny story. We brought the Daytona prototype out for the first time. It was like 02, and it was a Continental Historics towards the end of the year. We brought it out, and it was all carbon fiber, and we had 58 on one side and 59 on the numbers. And that night, they were going to drive it, and they had a lot of people there, and the press was there, and Scott Goodyear was going to drive it. And they told Scott that they're going to talk to the people when they come in a little bit, about the car. So don't forget, you're going to be talk up the car.
Yeah.
And, well, he starts into the pits, and engineer kicks in. Oh, we got issues. We got some shit in. We got this and that.
It's falling apart.
Yeah, but Scott, we're this is going to be a great car, though. It's got a couple of things.
It's the best.
Like the mid-course correction where it's like, but it'll be fine.
Yeah.
It's minor stuff. It's minor stuff, and we're going to get it squared away, and it's going to be great. It's going to be amazing.
It really was kind of a trouble-free car. I mean, we ended up, we used an MCO gearbox. A lot of them used an extract box. And MCO was such a good company and stayed with us the whole time. And we ran Fiske wheels at first.
Yeah.
A beautiful wheel.
Yeah.
But we ended up, I think, going to BBS's afterwards. But there was you meet so many neat people at IBOC when we were running IBOC Springs back. They show up. They're there. Eric Buell from Buell Motorcycles.
Buell Motorcycles. Yeah.
He shows up at Elkhart Lake with us.
That's pretty cool.
One time.
Yeah.
And,
but that's pretty cool because that's so.
It's Brumos.
Yeah, I was going to say because Brumos carries so much. Like you have all that star power that comes and hangs out and wants to be a part of it. I mean, even more recently when you guys were just racing not too long ago, McDreamy, right? Patrick Dempsey was with you guys.
He's a cool guy.
Yeah. And wanted to race with you guys, and you guys raced at 24 hours, right? Is that where you raced with you guys at Daytona? And it's just, but and like everybody, maybe and we have listeners all over the world, and maybe they just don't get it, and maybe because we're Florida boys and we get it, and
it's true.
But I would say probably everybody on the East Coast at a minimum, like really, really knows Brumos, right? Like out basically east of the Mississippi, Brumos is. For the longevity of racing, like they know what Brumos is. Like people see that Brumos plate on a newer 911 or something, and they see that and they're like, okay, yeah, that guy knows what's up because he knows Brumos, and I think it always carries that provenance. I think it was one of those dealer race cars. I think that still to this day is probably the best in my mind. I mean, I know I'm biased. We're sitting here with you, obviously, but and you work for them and you're still part of that program, but. Really, I mean, think about what they've done from such a small thing. I think that's what makes it so cool, where it's not just, okay, it's all this funding and all just, like some factory teams, they just throw money at stuff, these, and of course they're going to eventually win just by the numbers, eventually. But just the longevity and the race history, and then what some of the racing guys have done with you guys and outside of Brumos, and then have come back to Brumos and back and forth. Like speaking of Hurley, like winning Le Mans, doing that stuff, and it's just nuts. Like the talent that's come through Brumos.
Yeah, it's funny when you used to go to service schools. You sit there and they get your name and to get the dealer that you're from, and you always, I don't know if you felt different, but I think you were looked upon a little bit different.
Yeah.
And then sometimes people would get there and they would go, well, it's not grandeur,
Yeah.
But after being there a while, they find out it's not that, it's a passion for the product and the name. I mean, Bob really took care of his name.
Yeah. And on top of that, it's the culture that was set
true.
with Brumos, right? Like everybody who was employed with Brumos, like all had to kind of have that feel, right? Like, everybody was into it. It wasn't like some guy, it's like, well, it's just a job. And it's like everybody wanted to be there, right? Like, so, and I think that's what makes it special too. Like everybody, when you want to be somewhere.
You had to. If you didn't want to be there, you'd weren't there long.
Yeah.
And we had a lot of good people that just didn't like the family, and they or they went out on their own.
Yeah.
And may have, just because they had the Brumos name behind them, did very well as also. But
I equate it to
look
like
at the
Brumos was
livery-
like the Yankees. For like
You know
honestly,
what?
like
That's
I know
good.
that sounds really crazy to say, but really it is. It's like
Which is
they
a
have
staple.
that legacy and that like prestige of like when, even if you guys have a down year and you're not winning, you're still Brumos. Just like the Yankees. If they're not winning, it doesn't matter. They're still the Yankees. Like they walk into the clubhouse and you're like, the Yankees are here. It's almost kind of like, hey, the Brumos team's here, guys.
Well, you think about the livery, that livery. You've got so many iconic liveries, and you've got Martini Rossi, you've got Gulf.
Yep.
You've got, there's these huge, but they're huge companies. We were just a little dealership.
Exactly. And then the footprint that they was able to leave.
Yeah, and them asking you to run it again years later.
But it's people like Jack Atkinson, Hubert Brundage, Peter Gregg, Hurley Haywood, Bob Snodgrass.
Yep.
These guys had a passion for the company. I mean, Bob cherished the sweeps, and that's what he used to tell you to do, to cherish those sweeps.
Yeah.
And, remember when Dembra had it, and I don't blame her, and I didn't. I kind of liked the sticker, but she changed our logo completely. The background, where it was white before, it was black, and it had 3 sweeps, and they were like kind of a light blue, a peach color, and a yellow.
Yeah, I kind of remember that.
And that's kind of the first thing we did when Dan bought the company, is we went back to the red, white, and blue in our tradition. But that's part of our history. That was.
It's so iconic. I mean, it's so American. Obviously, we're all Americans, and I think that's another thing too. Even if you're not,
It's relatable.
yeah, if you're not even into a whole lot of racing, you see the red, white, and blue, and you're like, all right, I don't know anything about racing, but I'm rooting for that car.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
I still do that.
Yeah. Yeah, but I mean, and then just the iconic cars that you guys have raced too, like all the way from like, the 935, and you have you have the RSR, like all your winning cars, all the stuff you have, and it's just impressive resume. And obviously it takes time to build a resume. You guys have been in the business for a long time. But you can be in the business a long time and suck at it, but you guys haven't sucked at it. That's
true.
another thing too. So
It's an opposite end of this.
Exactly.
Well, we're real fortunate. I mean, Bob had that passion and kept. I look at my tenure at Brumos, and I saw a lot of times that it could have just gone away. When Peter died, it could just gone away.
Yeah, could have went
But
away,
it
right?
didn't.
Yeah.
When Deborah sold it, it could have gone away. When Bob died, it could have just gone away.
Yeah, you're right. There was a lot of like tragedy had happened along the way
Yeah,
where
when you
there's
don't
so
have any
many
control over it, it's
yeah,
just
a
gonna-
lot of opportunities for the whole situation to just disappear, right?
Yeah. Well, when Bob died, if a lot of situations the owner would have had to sell the company to pay off any of their partners, but and we're real fortunate. I mean, we've kept a lot of these cars. It's funny, when we were down on Main Street, gosh, if Porsche had seen where a lot of these cars were stuffed back in, they would have just gone nuts. But then they wanted to build a special place, and it opened in '99, and it was back behind the Mercedes dealer.
Yeah.
And it had. Did you ever go into our
Yeah.
old collection? And
That was I would call that, like Aaron Harris and I joke around, that was like the man cave.
it was serious man cave.
That
And I
was
remember,
the man. Everything was like you just said. It was perfect. That's a perfect description. It was stuffed in there, but it was cool because it was just like everything you had was just in there.
when we first started, there was rhyme or reason to some of the. There was like the Peter Wall, and then the Hurley, then the Bob, and then Dan stuff, and then it kind of. But later it was like, find a place for this and that,
Yeah.
and it was a collage of just stuff.
Can we move this over 6 more inches and then move this over 6 inches and we can get this in?
I remember the first car that was in there was the little MG. It was Bob's dad's car when he grew up, the little 1947 or 48 TC. And I remember Bob's looking over at that one car, and he's looking around, he goes, we'll never fill this place up. About a year later, Dan's like, Bob, you got to quit buying stuff.
What are we going to do with all this stuff?
And then they got Buster.
Yep.
And Buster took up a little bit of room.
Yeah,
Just a
I'd say
little
so.
bit.
But
Just a hair. So
gosh, was
what
it
are we
worth
going to
it.
do with this guy?
Oh, Buster's been a sweetheart. We
Yeah.
took it to Ever Rensport until we went to California. The first one they had in California, we took it to that one as well. And then that's been it since then. We
Yeah.
did take it to Michigan when the 70th anniversary. They had the deal in California, and then
Yeah.
they had Pontiac, Michigan. Not Pontiac, Plymouth, Michigan.
Plymouth.
And we lowboyed that thing up there.
That's awesome.
When they used to have Rensports at Daytona, we'd drive it there.
Yeah.
But that was the first car in the collection here, and we drove it in. And because of the way the floor is in there, it's like a media floor, and so it's kind of up and it's there.
Yeah, I've talked to Brandon about that. That he's at his final resting place inside here. Buster is.
Yep.
This is his, what I guess almost kind of like Egyptian tomb essentially, right? Like this is it. You're here, bud. We've got you in here, and this is where you're going to live the rest of your life.
Buster's done good. I mean, Jerry Sutterfield and his son did that thing, and they just did a beautiful job.
Oh, it's magnificent.
And,
it's one of my favorite pieces. I mean, there's so many awesome things inside the collection, but Buster is just such like a staple. It's
a
just one of those things.
tractor.
Yeah, it's just a.
You know why we have that tractor? Because it's a 1959.
Yeah, of course.
We were at
yeah.
some, there's some, oh, Bob, I got to have that.
Yeah.
Well,
It's
we
a
don't have a
59.
tractor. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a 59. It'd be perfect.
Done.
But that and it's kind of cool. It's a super. It's a 3-cylinder. It's not a little junior. But we should have took it out to Monterey last year, and we could have cleaned their clocks.
Yeah, I was gonna say like when they
Brumos
did
Racing tracks have been
those
awesome.
when they did those tractor racing
that
and
was so
John
fun.
John Oates is out
John
there. You guys
Oates.
smoked them with your guys' thing.
John Oates, he was so funny. He came in there, and I said, "Man, I'm not going to show it to you. I'm going to let what's his name down in South Florida that did the cars,
Kevin.
Kevin.
Yeah.
I'll let Kevin. I'm not going to spoil it for Kevin. I heard it was pink, and it was right behind me. And I'll bet that's it. And that was a real fun idea.
Yeah,
but
that was pretty neat to have all those guys out there doing that. It was pretty funny.
yeah, the tractor is it's fun to drive.
So let's talk a little bit about all of your, like, I don't want to get into your favorite car. I know you said you're a motorcycle guy, but all of the race cars that you've been a part of, and what is the one you gravitate towards the most? Where does it have a special heart? What and why?
According to what mood you're in, but probably the 550 Spider.
Okay.
When I got there, that car was behind Bill Binker's house. Now, Bill Binker was in the first 911 that raced at Daytona, Paul Ryan's car.
Okay.
Porsche didn't want it raced, actually, and they ran it. And, he was a big part of Brumos back in the day, and he bought that car. That car was traded in at Brundage Motors for a pickup truck back in the day. And he got it, and he raced it a bit. He was driving it to Miami, and it blew up on the way there. And, of course, it's a twin cam. It wasn't just your normal motor. So it ended up with the motor piled in the interior and then a tarp over it.
Okay.
And it was behind his house. Rats all underneath it. It was terrible. Outside in Florida, you can
Yeah, of
imagine.
course. Yeah, just
And,
rotting away.
One day I remember Bob says, let's help Jim Bailey. You got your truck, right? Can we take that car down to the race shop? And the race shop was down on Main Street. So we took it down, and it was there for a while. And then Dan finally bought it. And Tim Herman went through it. I think Vernon Crotch did the motor back in the day. And we did a few little things to it. And it's number 30. It was the first car Porsche put on an airplane.
Yeah, it's the one everybody sees in the
Wow.
pictures, right?
Yeah.
The one it's sitting there like on the tarmac, like on the little lift, getting like loaded in.
That's exactly right. In
Yeah.
Germany, they sent us those big
That's
photographs too.
amazing.
That's
And
cool.
you know, I got to drive it in a Boxster commercial up in Atlanta.
Oh,
They
did
had
you
some
really?
guy in the Boxster, and he was a pro. And I told him, I says, man, if I come up beside you, I'm not trying to pass you. I can't stop this damn car. And he says, I can drive it. I
Yeah.
said, well, no, I'll
You're like,
drive
hang on, bud.
Yeah.
I'm not saying like I can't drive it. I'm saying I can drive it. You're not driving it. I'm saying like I'm not trying to race you. Take it easy.
Yes, we had it. But I mean, all day at Barber in that car. It was a blast. We took it out to Willow Springs, and Hurley and Bishop had Porsche 1. Bergmeister drove our 914, the original 59 car, the orange one, and the 550 Derek Bell drove.
Oh,
and
awesome.
it was I think it was the PDK introduction.
Okay.
But when we first got the Spider, Dan raced it a good bit, raced it out at Monterey at the Storks in '98. Well, because of that, we put a bladder in it.
Okay.
Well, Hurley didn't know that. And I'm on the airplane heading out to Willow Springs, and I get a phone call from Hurley. We get ready to take off. He says, there's gas all inside the car. Well, what Hurley had done is he thought he'd top it off. So he pulled the cap off and started pouring the gas in. Well, there's a bladder in it. You got to pull the other cap off to pour it in. So he's pouring it all on top of the bladder.
Yeah, it's not even going in.
No, it's going all in the car.
Oh no.
Oh, it was so funny. Yeah, of
Hurley,
course, it
you're a
didn't-
driver.
It
Stop.
didn't hurt anything. We cleaned it all up, and the car was fine. But towards the end of the day, we got one of the police officers down there to go over and tell him that was a hazmat deal. This is California. You spill all this fuel.
mess
So we
with
got
him.
some people coming. You got to fill out some paper. Well, I did. But,
You devils, you messing with him so bad. That's awesome.
you know, that's one of the funnest things at the races. I mean, I miss the traveling probably more than any of it, but the having fun with the
Yeah.
guys. There's a bunch of nuts at the racetrack.
Oh, yeah.
They were always, they're good at something. That's why they're all there.
Exactly.
But you put all those kind of egos and guys together, and they could be nuts.
Oh yeah, the pranks are
The
unbelievable.
rental car pranks. David Donahue and Darren Law's car, they had their rental car. And I got under there, and it was where you had I pulled one relay out and run a jumper wire from the brake light switch, so whenever they would put the brake on, the horn would blow. So by the time they figured it out, they had to drive it most of the rest of the way home with a hand brake trying to stop
Yeah.
it. But it was hilarious. But
Who did this?
Oh, they knew. I got. But
The electrical
Donahue,
guy did this.
That's exactly right. Donahue won't. Just like his dad, he's not going to let you get away with nothing.
Yeah.
'Cause
You were marked after that, huh?
one day I took his phone and I switched it to French or something. So he comes in the next morning and we're waiting for somebody to say something. Well, he sent Don Cox. He used to come to the track with David. Worked with his dad a lot. Don Cox did. He says, I don't know who did it, but he's really upset. He missed a real important phone call from his daughter. Somebody had messed with his phone. And I'm sitting over and my stomach's doing
You're like,
flip-flops.
oh, no.
And David comes in, and David's like, but I could tell. He had that little smirk.
Yeah. You're like, you guys are trying to pull my leg on this one.
He'd get you back. David was good.
Yeah. The camaraderie that you guys must have had must have been just like that. Like you said, you probably miss that the most, right?
You do.
Like when the traveling, the pranks, and and you were in the military. I was also, and so was Aaron. It's like one of those things that you have too when
Yep.
you're in the military. You have that camaraderie. It's like, all right, we're on a TDY. We're doing this. We're moving here. It's like guys are messing with each other. It's those little
It's the
things.
bonding moments.
Yeah, it's the little things. Even if it's something that upsets you at the time, you go back and you laugh at it, and it's like, you SOBs, man, you knew that would piss me off, but it was funny. I'll give you that.
Yes. Yes. That's a lot of that stuff you look back on. I remember the DP, one of the pit stops at the first 24-hour race with the prototypes. We had all kinds of problems with the car. And we come in once, and I would put the air jack in, do the left rear tire, crawl under the fuel hose, and help whatever. If it was JC's, like fighting a bull to hook him up in the belts. He's just a big guy.
Yeah.
And Hurley had done an off over there. A Corvette had spun in front of him.
Okay.
And so he had a lot of sand in the car and couldn't get the belt. So I think I said the F word. And the cameras were just like right down there. And Lee Diffie's like, well, you know, it's live down there. This stuff just happens. And
Hey,
so,
it's a heated moment, okay? These guys are racing.
We just get about done with that, and there's a big oil leak. So we take the back off, and I'm crawling up in the engine compartment, and a piece of the air quip hose is rubbed across the oil filter and rubbed a hole in it. As soon as I moved that hole, it like a sprinkler.
Wow.
And the camera guy is all over me. So instead of thinking about your pit stop, all I could think of is Bob is going to be pissed off. And I said, and I probably ruined the guy's camera. And that's all on my mind. When we get to pit stop, we jump over the wall, and the camera guy goes, dude, that was awesome.
Yeah, because he's just like, he never gets that kind of like, he's like, I was involved.
Yeah, and Bob comes down off the cart, and he's going, that was a great stop. And I'm thinking, this stuff is fun.
You're like, all right,
But,
that was fun. And you're like, I dig it.
You just never know.
See, you're more than an electrician. You're talking about climbing underneath the car. You're like a all hands on deck.
Well, you
kind
were a
of guy.
mechanic basically back then. You were
Yeah.
a mechanic. We had, but we had some real good guys that, like I say, that's the trick.
Yeah.
Hire the best talent.
Yeah.
And trust them. Let them do their job. But we had. We got serious. We brought a lot of IndyCar guys in that was our shot guy did IndyCars. And
did you guys ever have people that you can think of? You don't have to name them by name, and you can just kind of elaborate a little bit without their names. But did you have people that wanted to race with you, but for whatever reason, your team was already set, and they still were a big name, or they became a big name, and you're like, oh yeah, they did want to race with us, but it just didn't work out.
You know, there were some kids that I used to see that I thought, man, that kid's got a ton of talent. And but I mean, I wasn't in a position to make any of those decisions. But Bob was pretty careful when he picked. I remember he picked. I don't know how when we first started at DPs, he wanted David Donahue. And that was a big deal. And I think they kind of wanted American drivers in this program.
Yeah.
And somebody, and I think it was Hurley, came up with Mike Murkowski.
Okay.
And he ran the first few races. And then later we got Darren Law the next year. And but no, I mean, I there's some kids out there I think is probably pretty talented, but you know, I never had to.
Yeah,
I never had that kind of power to pull them in there and say, hey. There's a Timmy Rivers. He's kind of related to the Francis down there. You'd think he'd have a big end, but he is extremely talented little kid. And that's a kid I think should have. He runs with Jamie France a lot.
Oh yeah.
And he's pretty. I mean, Jamie's basically started out as an amateur with us, but he's pretty much a professional when it was over.
I was gonna say.
And working with Jamie was a lot of fun. I mean, Jamie is. Everybody thinks, well, he's a super nice guy, big heart. But you remember the fight in Mexico City?
Yes.
That was killer. And I think he decided he's not going to do any more fighting at 7,500 feet altitude. But him and Chris Beington, that was so good. Well,
I'm exhausted.
We're in Mexico City, and that happened. And then that evening, we went out on economy to eat. You know, we're at some restaurant, and the Sutter's bunch that raced the 3-car was down another table. And here it comes on the TV, and we were down there to support the Busch race. The Busch race was the next day.
Yeah.
And it was a road course with Busch cars. And they were showing the ad, and then they showed the fight. And the guys, and then these idiots like, oh, it was those guys. And but we that was a blast.
Yeah.
But Jamie's like, where were you? I said, you didn't look like you needed any help.
You're like, yeah, I'm not getting involved in that.
Yeah,
You're like, I need a job.
boxed for about 10 years. So
Okay.
I've got a plastic nose. But he was always, like, let's go.
Let's go spar.
No, you can buy your way out of that crap.
Exactly. You're like, I'm gonna.
He's a wonderful guy, and I thought it was a big asset and a fun deal running with those guys.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, good opportunity too.
And Hurley, you got to give Hurley a lot of credit for doing that, to taking an amateur on like that.
Absolutely.
And when the other car, the 58 car, had the two pros in it.
I agree 100% because, especially like at that portion in his career, is most of those guys are prima donnas, right? Where there's like, absolutely not. I'm not here to teach somebody.
Right.
Like, I'm here to race. I'm here to win. I only have so much time left. I'm not here to mentor somebody.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
But I thought JC did a.
But that
good
just goes
job.
back to like Hurley's character too, because he's such a good guy. Like, he's just a genuinely good guy, and I think that's not surprising that Hurley did that.
Just this weekend, Saturday, I went down. Hurley's jet ski didn't start, and it was a relay. Took the relay out and it was cooked inside.
Yeah.
We went, so we hop in his mini moke, and we're in St. Augustine.
Nice.
And he pulls up, and there's a red light, and there's 2 or 3 cars in front of him. Well, Hurley cuts through the parking lot around here, some business, and gets out on US 1 and passes the car center. I said, Hurley, is that how you won all these races? And we go down to the little
He's like, I saw an opportunity and I took it.
That's exactly right. But it was fun running around St. Augustine with Hurley. And the little Sea-Doo shop didn't have the parts, so we went to an Advanced Auto. It was like a Toyota relay.
Oh, nice.
So Hurley went jet skiing Saturday afternoon.
Nice.
But,
Got them all fixed up.
Hurley is, I've known him forever. He's just a great guy.
Yeah, he's just, he's a legend, man. In every, even off the racetrack, he's just a good person. It's just, which is so cool.
Yeah.
Some of these guys, they're not all well-rounded. They're just, some of them are just great race car drivers,
just a driver.
and then that's about it, But Hurley's just a genuinely good person, and it's so awesome that he spent so much time, and I think a lot of people, not just myself, but a lot of people that know anything about Brumos always think about Hurley too, and Brumos,
sure.
100%. They always think of
those two together.
And what a great face for Brumos still, right? With Hurley, and he's still representing Brumos at every opportunity he has. He's always representing Brumos, which is awesome.
He is. He was. It was always easy to be around. Hurley was, and he's. We used to call him our little speed midget. And then Joe Vardy comes along, and he's shorter. Joe Vardy's a little guy, fast guy too.
Yeah.
But and it was always the tall and short guys. I don't know how we ended up with that a lot.
Yeah,
David
like the
Donahue
parallel
and Darren
of that.
Law.
Yeah.
Lee Keene and Andrew Davis.
I know.
And
yeah, Lee Keene's so tall too.
And I was putting the driver in the car the last year, and Andrew had his air for his helmet blower coming in on the side down here. And that's the only way it works right. And Andrew has to have, or Lee has to have it on the top of his helmet because that's the only way it works right. And so his is hitting and what did y'all reverse?
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes more sense.
Exactly.
Too logical.
Where Lee's head's hitting the
Yeah, it was just right on the top. But you know what? It didn't matter. Those guys.
This is the
were
way
so
I like
good.
it.
That's right. You do whatever the driver wants.
I wear my socks like this. And it's like, all right, I get it. You got to race day. You got to eat the certain thing that you got to eat,
Yep.
and then you got certain amount of alone time to focus. Whatever you got to do.
I guess drivers are probably a bit superstitious.
Yeah,
as
they're
well.
like pitchers, like baseball pitchers. They're just like, look, hey, when I pitch today, like I eat a banana in the morning, and then I like walk around the block 3 times, and then it's like I lock the door 3 times, and it's like, dude, you're psychotic. Like, yeah, well, that's what gets me in the zone, man.
Hey,
like,
whatever it takes.
yeah, exactly.
I heard Bob Snodgrass used to sit in the tub before a race at
Yeah.
night and lay back in the tub and close his
And try to
eyes
imagine
do
the track.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. I said, Bob, we don't want to imagine you in the tub, but it's pretty cool.
That's one big tub.
I'm going to imagine it in the PG version. No water, clothes on. Hopefully not.
Full race suit.
Bob's like, no, I'm actually taking a bath also, and I'm doing two things at once.
I just sent Harris some pictures the other day that we found on an old laptop over here. And Bob had his motorhomes, and we had to change the little electric valve that's in the toilet. So we had the toilet out of his motorhome. And Bob, he loved everything clean. It had to be spotless, especially wheels. But Hurley goes, hey, look. We looked over, and Bob has got some Zymol, and he's waxing the toilet.
Really?
Before it went back in. And when they had the memorial service for Bob after he passed, Hurley told that story up on stage. But
He was waxing a toilet, guys.
he waxed his toilet. I mean, that's how.
Attention to detail, man.
And Harris is probably the same way.
Oh, yeah.
Harris is.
Well, if you know Harris, like ever since he's been birthed, but same thing. Everything Harris owns is squeaky clean, perfect. Everything's great. It's not, apple doesn't fall that far from the tree, so it makes total sense where, maybe someday you're going to see him waxing a toilet for one of his motorhomes out there.
We talk about Bob too. Harris's mother, Susan, she's just spectacular.
Yeah.
He's and she was a doctor. Bob was always pretty proud of
Yeah,
the fact that
absolutely.
his wife was and probably needed to be. Bob. Dan Davis just said Bob could spend his money better than any woman he ever met. But,
yeah, very true. Absolutely.
Bob was something else.
So take us through some current stuff. Okay, so we're at the collection today, obviously. Now, your role here is obviously shifted. You guys aren't racing anymore, unfortunately. We talked about that offline. Super sad the last time you guys were racing.
That's the last one behind us. Hurley's last race.
Yeah.
He ran that in the 50th running of the 24-hour.
I love every time I see that car, I'm just like, I know I'll never have it, but I just be able to see it. I'm like, I just want that car so bad.
I think we're going to get it ready, and Hurley may drive it in 24 minutes.
Yeah,
so
that'll be awesome. I think that'll be a great treat for everybody.
And then we bought the 2017 car that Porsche ran in our livery.
Yeah.
And I think we're going to take that to Sebring.
That'll be awesome.
And
that would be cool.
Hurley, I think, would rather let Patrick Long or somebody drive.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Because I think one lap's parade lap, and it's going to run a couple laps.
That's going to be amazing. Yeah.
So that'll be a lot of fun. But,
so as far as so the people who don't know, because there's a lot of people, obviously because of COVID, it still haven't been here.
Yeah.
With the collection. Fortunately, we've been here a bunch. I want to say 4 or 5 times already. We're very gifted, and we're actually great to be part of the extended Brumos family. We really appreciate that.
You're the family now.
You guys have the dyno in the back. You guys are rebuilding cars here. Give us a little bit about how your role has shifted from being at the track, and now you're kind of curating all of these race cars, because you guys have Miller race cars, you have your Brumos race cars that you raced, and so you guys have an impressive fleet of cars. But you guys pride yourself on keeping them in working order as well, right?
Well, we've kind of been doing that for a few years now, but before we moved over here, we kind of got serious about it when Dan decided what he was going to do. A little kid, he's I call everybody kid if they're under 50.
Yeah. Understandable. Somebody with age and wisdom is allowed to do
Aaron
that.
Israel, who had graduated from McPherson College, the automotive
Yeah,
college.
Aaron's an awesome guy. I met him a bunch of times.
Great kid, and he's actually this Bugatti behind us, 1925 Type 30.
I was close.
Yeah, you were close.
Yeah, he's going to. It was a perfect car, one of the most original Bugattis out there, but it was kind of the wrong color.
Okay.
So we had our painter. They got sanded down, found the exact correct color, and so he's doing that project now. And helmet bots 959, and it's behind us back here now.
I took a picture of it. I'm like, I love that car
cool.
so much.
We found out something about the exhaust system on that car. They came through, and Bruce would federalize them.
Yeah. Yep.
And he does a real nice cat conversion on them.
Absolutely.
Well, this one, he looked at it, that can't be Bruce. Well, what it was Helmet Bot and them had done this in Germany, just testing some of these catalytic converters. They even had a cat on the wastegate.
Really? Okay.
But so Bruce sent us a European exhaust system.
Okay.
And we've just kind of gone through the car, relocated the wastegate where it was originally.
Yeah, because this is a prototype.
This is a pre-prototype.
Yeah.
yes.
Okay. Pre-prototype.
And
yeah.
they kind of took a 930 and just started with this car. And you can see a lot of that we've got some of the body work off of.
Yeah.
So that's been kind of fun. We've gone through it.
Such a
done lot
special
of those.
car.
Rebuilt the water pumps. You know, it's got 2 water pumps that run off the exhaust cams. And it's a parallel system. And it actually cools just the heads.
Yep.
And the turbochargers.
I didn't know it. I didn't know it did. I just thought it like all I ever knew was the heads, but I didn't know it did the turbo also.
Does the turbochargers as well.
I didn't know that.
So we just rebuilt. All that stuff was available. We found everything but an air filter. If you guys can find a Purolator, anybody finds a Purolator
there it is.
air filter for a 959.
Yeah. Email or call or text. You guys have our information. You have their information. Let's get it done. Out of the 15, 16,000 of you that listen and watch this thing, we should be able to find one somewhere. Somebody should know somebody somewhere in the world that has one.
Yep.
It's funny. We, I guess we'll probably run a K&N in it, but we'd like to keep it rigid.
Yeah, of course.
The air filter is. But we bought all the seals it took and rebuilt the water pumps, and we ran it here the other day.
Yeah.
It was funny. It had about a half a quart of oil in one of the turbochargers.
Oh wow!
And
so did it just
our
blow it
alarm
all out?
system
I was going to
works
say.
real well.
I was going to say, just blow it all out.
We're right on the edge of St. Johns County and Duval County.
Did they both respond?
The one we called they're 59.
It's Brumos. Let's go.
We called the one unit over here in Duval County, and they said, "Oh, okay." So they didn't come, but the St. Johns County goes, "We still have to come." But
so why don't you give us a tour of what's going on in here while we're here?
you know, that used to happen over the old facility all the time. We'd start one of those cars up, and you know, we're sorry.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just that I think the last time that happened was a 962, but a lot of those cars sit for a while, and the oil will run past the exhaust valves.
Yep.
And it'll
pool.
Cylinder.
Yeah, it'll pool in there. Yep.
And it's going to smoke when you start it. And,
any turbo car does that. Even the 996s, 997s. Like you let them sit for a while. Like when you start them up, they're like dragging, just smoke.
You know what? It kind of lubes the valve track.
Exactly.
Right?
There you go. The oil's already in the turbo. You don't need to feed it back in. It's in there already, right? Like,
That's
isn't that
true.
logic?
I sucked about a half a quart out of this one. But that's been a fun project going through that car, and it needed a little bit of attention. I mean, I've to the point now I'm getting the headlights. Got intensive headlight washers, which like used to be on a 928. They pop up.
Yeah, they're like.
So we're making that part of it work. So we're really going through the whole car, and we ran our Muskowski, the AJ Foyt car, on the dyno.
Oh, I bet that was awesome.
That was fun. And the 959 is going on the dyno next.
Nice.
At the old shop, we had a Clayton dyno, which was a 2-wheel dyno, and it was great to go through the cars before they went to the track. But this all-wheel dyno, the front wheels are turning at the same speed as the rear wheels.
Yeah.
So if you can really... You could lay your foot on the brake and heat cycle the brakes,
Yeah.
get the brake fluid
It's
hot.
a lot better feel, a lot more out of it.
Yes.
Yeah.
And for a
that actually
museum
makes
car,
sense too.
it
Yeah,
does.
you got to do that.
So we're really excited about our new Superflow dyno.
That thing's gorgeous too. It's
it's
like,
ground. It's all level,
yeah.
so we can just pull a real low car on it.
If you're
And-
engineering geeks like us, when you see stuff like that and you see it, you're just kind of like, it's like jewelry. You're like, yes, look at this.
I mean, when we first got here, we did some nutty stuff. We hung the cars that were on the
Which
wall
is
before we kind of
awesome.
hung them on the ceiling. That's pretty good. That's
This is such a state-of-the-art facility. It's so awesome. And like we've talked about it before, where it pays homage back to the old Ford plant.
Right.
And it's
Yeah, it does look cool.
what a treat for the community to have this here. And I say that over and over again. You don't even have to be a Porsche fan, because there's more than
Just a
Porsches
car
in
fan,
there,
yeah.
right? Obviously. But when they hopefully to open next year and sometime in 2021, excuse me, if you haven't been here yet, it's such a treat for the public. And great on Dan for doing this for everybody, because he didn't have to do this. And I would encourage anybody who's listening, if you are a car enthusiast, you're doing yourself a disservice if you don't come here to come see this spectacle of speed here. It's here.
Yeah, if you're just a history buff,
Yeah.
it's fun. I mean, some of the board track racers, in a way,
Yeah.
we've got board tracks represented and how
Yeah.
they were, and all the cities that they were in, and yeah, Dan. I mean, a company that was a huge part of my life, for him to honor it the way he's done,
to
is
step
just
up like this.
something
Like,
else.
again, he didn't have to do this.
No.
Exactly, and he wanted to do this, so that says a lot about his
And at
character
first,
as well.
we didn't think he was. We figured this will be sold and that'll be sold, and we but he comes in one day and he goes, you know what, I'm going to build a place over there. And
Yeah.
and I think
But
he
from what I
really-
understand, you can speak better than I am. Dan holds his cards close to him, so it's kind of
Oh, yes,
yeah.
he does.
So you don't really know like what Dan's going to do until Dan says he's going to do it.
That's why I'm hoping he comes in one day and says,
Race
lays
team.
those cars and says, yeah, you know what we need to do. But you know
We're
what?
going racing again.
the
Boogity,
cards-
boogity, boogity, boogity.
The cards are kind of stacked against Porsche, and that's one of the reasons. I mean, when Dad pulled out, people were like, oh, but I think a year later they go, man, he was smart.
Exactly.
But you said it before. I don't care if we're winning.
Yeah.
Brumos needs to be out there.
I agree.
But
It's such a historic thing and such a treat for everybody, because there's not a single person that I know inside and outside of Porsche, because I know fans that are Mercedes fans and all that stuff. And anytime they see a Brumos car, even I had Mercedes and Lamborghini and Ferrari people text me when they saw the livery, the Brumos livery coming out for the race car, and they're like, did you see this? And I was like, I know, it's amazing, isn't it? And they're like, how cool is that? Like, on the modern livery, I think everybody in the racing world knows Brumos because they went nuts for that livery, the modern
and it
take
was a
on
big
it.
hit in Europe as well.
Yeah, everybody loved it.
We were
Everybody
really
loved
excited
it.
about that, and to have the car now.
It's
is
such a sexy
treat.
car too.
So,
To sit the way they did, it's so clever how they did it with the numbering on the racing stripes. Where
Yeah,
they,
the
it's
5.9,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's so clever. I'm just like, yes,
yeah.
this is awesome.
And the drivers loved it because they had people coming up to them that normally wouldn't. Some of the older people, and
Yeah.
And a couple of the German drivers was like, wow, you know that.
Well, and I think it goes back to what we discussed earlier. I think it's the heritage and the lineage that Brumos has,
Yep.
and then when you see it on a car in modern day, still out on the track, it says a lot about it being a champion and a champion brand, and all of that goes in behind it to say, like, man, they're still doing it. They're still out here. Like,
Well, Dan said that if I could align the stars and the planets, that he might race again.
okay, I'll help you. I'll help you with that,
Well,
because like if whatever
We call
gravitational
Elon
pull,
Musk
yeah.
and see if he can't.
Maybe he can shoot us up there, and then we can like try to align
Line
the
'em
stars, and like, Dan, it's done. Can we go race now?
Well,
It's
I need
on.
one more thing. That would.
We're
Be
bringing Hurley out of retirement. It's on.
I did. I asked her. I said, "Will you drive this car to 24 minutes if I get it ready?" Yeah.
Yeah, of course, he's a
okay.
race car driver.
Yeah, you're right. I mean,
he's never gonna not want to do that.
He climbed in that mini moat this weekend, and I thought, "Here we go." And he's just buzzing around that town.
You're like, don't kill me.
It's like, find this seatbelt here. Nah,
Don't kill me, Hurley.
Hurley's not going to hurt himself, so
Yeah.
he wouldn't have to worry. But yeah, Hurley's got a beautiful place in St. Augustine. He's
Oh yeah,
living the life.
amazing place on the water there.
Yeah, right on the water.
Yeah.
And,
He's a big boater too, right? Yeah.
yeah, he's got a beautiful Chris Craft,
Yeah.
gorgeous boat.
I love Chris Craft boats.
Yeah, he's Hurley's always been a boater.
Yeah.
And he looks like a golfer now, or a fisherman with
Yeah.
his tan. And
Yeah,
it's like,
yeah.
Hurley,
Like a
get you
charter
some sunscreen
fishing
in it.
captain
Yeah,
or
yeah,
whatever.
yeah.
It's like, you're running fishing charters? What are you doing out here, Harley?
And his legs getting a lot better.
Good.
So
Good.
we've got high hopes that that's all going to get
Yeah.
cured. They did some surgery, and he's got some blood flow now.
Good.
And, so
Because I
he's-
know he was having some issues with that. That's good.
Yeah,
That's good to
It's
hear.
been such a long time. He was in with crutches for years, but
Yeah.
he wore the crutch when he raced the Jaguar.
I know, man.
It's
That
kinda
guy's,
funny.
he's tough as nails, man.
He
like,
is pretty tough for
Yeah.
a speed midget.
yeah. Yeah, well, you know, they always say like, so he's kind of like a strong troll or something like that, maybe.
Hurley.
Yeah, what a great
Squirrely
guy.
Hurley.
What a great guy. But yeah, such a great facility here, like such a great lineage, you know, that you guys have. Maybe we can talk Dan into to go and racing again.
Yeah, maybe.
I told him all this stuff we got.
That'd be heaven on earth for me to see you guys racing again. I'd be like, yes.
Yeah, one more time.
Exactly.
Bob McKee, big automotive engineer, did a lot of electric car stuff and some Indy cars, retired, and his shop was north of Chicago, and we bought the shop out, all his equipment. So a lot of that we're still going through, and the fasteners, the things that these guys that just develop these Indy cars,
Yeah.
and some of these, that they accumulate over the years. And when we went and bought the place, I mean, we were looking for not a CNC machine. I mean, that'd be nice, but a milling machine.
Okay.
A Bridgeport milling
Yeah,
machine.
yeah.
And so we just bought the whole place. The fasteners, the hardware that this guy had.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, it's weird how like one of those like teams accumulates all this stuff. It's like, what were you guys doing all this stuff? It's like, I don't know. It's just like
If
we
we
had
need it, we need it.
you know, and we were racing, and then we just put it to the side.
you
and then,
don't throw anything away.
Yeah,
in a race
absolutely.
car.
You don't.
It's
Because you never know what's going to develop, right? I'm sure you rewind even more recently before this facility broke ground and the idea of this facility, it wasn't even on the map for anybody else. And now you have this, and you have a dyno, and now you have an engine rebuilding area back here, a clean room where you build engines, and you do all of that stuff. And I think I joked around with you when I first came here the first time, and I was like, I'm not the smartest man, but I know what a race team facility looks like.
If I was going to build
And
one.
this looks a lot like a race team facility to me.
well, we can only hope. But
I was like, you have a clean room to build engines. You have an engine dyno. You have like a place that you can build your own parts. This sure looks like a race shop.
well, until you look at the transformer behind you, it's funny. But you're right. This is he's got this building set up that we can do just about anything. We're trying to be. Of course, you got to be very fastidious anyway, but we're trying to be a little more clinical, not hanging so much stuff on the walls like we had in the other places.
Yeah.
So maybe that'll appease some people that come in, and because we looked at a sponsor there for a while, and had we got them, we would have probably raced. But
I'm sure that question comes up a lot, though, right? Like,
why are you not
He's like, you
racing?
going back racing again?
Yeah, you hear it all the time. I hear it more from my European friends than anybody else. But
Why is not Brumos Racing?
You got to race.
Why
Race.
is-
So, are you
Brumos
doing
is-
anything next season?
Brumos is a racing.
Yeah.
You must have race.
But you know what? To be honest with you, I'd go to the racetrack, and there's a couple of old Ray Richards comes to mind, but the old guards that would stand at the fence. It's been there. They've seen it all. And they would say, man, you've been coming in here for 20, 30 years. You always got the same uniform on. That's because we were a dealership first.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, that's changed a little bit now.
Yeah.
I mean, when our cars would run out there, and back when the prototype started, hell, it was a 2.5-hour Brumos commercial pretty much. And
Well, yeah, and it helped sell cars, right? Like that was like
I don't care if it wasn't a Porsche. It helped sell cars.
I mean, at the end of the day, what the old phrase of like obviously IMSA races, most of them were like on Saturday, but like the old phrase is like you race on Sunday, sell on Monday type of situation.
Exactly.
But that's a lot of the places. I mean, why they race because to promote their dealership to say, hey, and like your motto even on the front of the car, like we race what we sell.
Yeah, that's cool.
That was Dan's doing. That was a really smart little deal. And I think if the rules had been a little more accommodating to Porsche, we may have still been in it. But I think he wanted to concentrate on this.
Yeah.
And
the restoration process
and just building a facility for all of this. I mean, he put a lot into this.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
it kept
absolutely.
getting more. Well, you saw the gate when you came.
Absolutely.
The gate was a week or two later, and when it showed up, we're like, I mean, would we have expected anything?
Yeah, I was about to say, it's like, of course, this is what's here. I mean, from the tempered pane window glass that changes based off of the sunlight. So,
Yeah.
I mean, would you expect anything less from Brumos?
The Union 76 ball out there. Did you see that? When you
Yes.
go-
Yeah.
I'll never forget. We're racing at Daytona, and Bob are looking at the ball up there, and Bob at turn 4, and Bob says, "I won't be here next year." It won't. He goes, "Oh, they go to Sunoco next year. They'll take that down." Really? An hour or two later, I went back over. Bob, why don't you see if you could get it?
Yeah, why don't you get
What
that?
would we do with that? I don't
Yeah.
know.
We'll figure.
Yeah.
You never know what's going to happen.
6 months later, I get called up in the office. You get that. Leatherwood called 3251. That was just. Everybody knew what 3251 was. So he says, I got it. It's coming.
Yeah.
Well, it laid behind the race shop for a year. And he came in one day. "I told you we wanted to do that." So we got a little money together and we put it up on a pole.
Uh-huh.
And so when we moved,
No, it looks
Dan
pretty
says,
good,
"Well,
huh?"
that's got to go."
Yeah.
So we had it brought over here, and they kind of restored it and
Yeah.
made a real nice home.
It's
for it
such a
out there.
nice
Yeah,
touch.
that's cool.
It's such a cool touch.
And that for Dan, I think when he was a kid, him and his buddy used to climb up there. They'd wait till the spotter would go in and close that little hatch.
Yeah, yeah.
And they'd climb up the ladder and they could watch
and then
the
hang
race
out
from
and hang
there.
out underneath it a little bit.
So the ball's a little more special for him in
Yeah.
that way. But
But see, again, like you guys had the foresight to see that, to say like, look, I know you're going to want this thing. I know you're thinking from a businessman perspective, like, what am I supposed to do with that stupid thing?
exactly.
And it's like, you're going to do something
like
with
it.
it.
That's something that everybody remembers from Daytona. If you remember,
Of course,
I
absolutely.
mean, 20 years from now, it might not, but
Yeah.
right now,
No, but it will, because the
Because
legacy.
of people like
well, I was
you.
going to say the legacy is going to live on because we'll continue to
true.
tell that story. And it's like, that's the ball from Daytona.
Yeah.
Like, that's not just some like thing they just had made to put out there. That actually came from Daytona.
See, I didn't know that. Now
Yeah.
Thankful.
Well, see, you're getting educated.
guys like you are what's got to keep this stuff
Yeah.
alive.
Thank you. We're trying to like that, and that's why we want to meet with you guys and Dan and all these people and Hurley and all the people who raced, and have all this history, because it's so important. It really is, to pass on to the next generation, because if we don't get to share your stories and leave a digital footprint, unfortunately, not to sound morbid, but like, Bob had so many, he was a great storyteller too. And like, Bob's gone now, right? And I would have loved to have had Bob on the show at some point, because he would have been such a great character to have, the stories and the pranks and all the stuff, like the burnout story and just like all the little stuff that he has. And just like, man, I'll tell you what, I drank like 36 beers one night and I did this. And man, I jumped into the springs off of this tree. And, and then next thing you know, there was a 914-6 sitting in this guy's lawn over here. And we ended up buying the car from him. Like crazy stories like that.
Bob was something else.
Yeah.
He wasn't much of a drinker. Maybe that's some of the key to success.
Yeah,
but,
it probably is, honestly.
He drank Rolling Rock beer. And when he go to bike week, that's about the only time I'd ever seen him drink.
Yeah.
And I remember Rio Bravo used to be over there pretty close to the track.
I remember Rio Bravo.
Well, we
like,
walked over there one night and got something to eat.
little Mexican joint.
Yeah. And we had a couple of margaritas, and we're getting ready to come back. And Bob goes, I'm going to call a cab. I said, Bob, it's right there. I'm going to call a cab. So we called a cab, and we drove with the company. You
The
could
cab is
see the
I
place.
bet the guy was like, "Are you kidding me right now?" And you're like, "Hey, I'm being safe, man."
Yeah, Bob was.
Well, that's actually a smart move on Bob, because you think about like how much Bob had to lose.
Exactly. Let me
You know
tell
what I
you,
mean?
Bob took that stuff serious. You didn't do anything to diminish the name. Or so funny, we had a porter in the back. And Phillips Highway over here has a lot of the working girls and stuff in there. Well, he went over there. Next thing you know, next day in the paper, they've got this guy with the Brumos shirt on and his name, and he's been picked up over on. And that's the way what they do is they show the Johns on there. And and Bob's like, what?
Who's
So,
this clown?
It was the next day, I think. And Bob it got all over him, but the next day they get a call from Mudville Grill, and they had some problems down there, and it was some guys that were drinking, and Bob goes, well, what makes you think they're our guys? Well, they had Mercedes uniforms on.
Okay.
So there's a memo comes out. You don't wear a uniform if you do anything You know,
Yeah.
when you
That's
leave
on
your
the shop.
team.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And,
exactly.
so that carried over to the racetrack.
Yeah, as it should though, because
I
I mean,
agree.
you're discrediting all the hard work everybody else is putting in because you want to go out and act like a clown.
Ruin it for everybody.
Yeah,
But you know, you don't last too long on a team if you do that.
That's
too
true,
much.
too.
The French guys, we ran the first water cooled car. We ran a '59, and it was the year that the auto water pumps
Okay.
lifts up. And with Jack LeConte, we run with that team.
Nice.
And the French guys went out. We took them out that night, and we went to some bar down on the beach, and they wanted a bottle. The guy says, "No, I serve drinks." I said, "Well, we want to buy the bottle." Mm-hmm. So that guy sold him a bottle for a ton of money, and they set it there on the table, and they drank those shots. When it got time, their crew chief says, "That's it." They all stood up, and they left.
Wow. So the
And,
crew chief made the call, huh? He's
yes.
like, "You guys are done.
They were done, and of course,
Fun's over, boys."
a couple of the
Fini.
Brumos, we were there, me and another Brumos guy, you know, I think he was trying to pick some girl up, but we stayed there a little bit longer. But I went back. He says, "What should I do?" And I said, "Well, you do what you want. I'm not your boss, but
Yeah.
I would be ready in the morning."
Yeah.
Well, I think he stayed out a little late, and they didn't let him work.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Probably should have went on the side of modesty on that and said,
Yeah, for
"Hey,
sure.
we got a race tomorrow.
yes.
Probably ought to go back. You had your fun."
You know, that's a serious race.
Yeah.
You've got
Well, they're all serious because you really think about it. You get down to the brass tacks of it, right? So you have a driver, and if you're supporting the driver, and if you're part of the support team, and if you're not the driver, they're out there risking life and limb, right? So if you're not tip top and you're not taking care of, you're
They're counting on you to be.
You're jeopardizing their life and potentially other people's lives on track because you didn't help do your job. Like you said way earlier, we talked about it. Everybody's there for a reason. You have a specific, whether you're the tire guy, you're the person who gets a person in and out of the car, whatever you have, you need to be at your best.
Yeah, that's right. And do your job and your job only, unless you're asked to do another job.
Exactly. And,
Yeah.
and I think that goes to say a lot because, you know, a lot of people, you know, that are out there in normal life, you know, fortunately, you know, they're doing, and people aren't potentially losing life when they go to their 9 to 5.
Right.
But on the racetrack, when you're there clocked in for whatever race, you screw up a little bit, you could kill that driver and other drivers because if they lose whatever they did because what you did incorrectly or you didn't do something properly, and we've seen it, even guys that are on their best condition in races where they don't put the center locks on tight enough and a wheel shoots off and the guy's like screaming at him on the radio and it's like, "Who is a damn tire guy on that? Are you kidding me right now? Like, we just pitted. Now I gotta take 10 minutes to get in so I don't damage the rest of the car just to get another tire from you because you were at the bar last night trying to pick up a piece of tail."
Well, that's at least he had a halfway decent reason. But,
Exactly.
you know, that is serious. I remember at a historic race once, Hurley's in the 962, the Copenhagen car, and he goes into turn one, he hits the brakes, the front tire spit off.
Oof.
He drove it the rest of the way around on 3 tires, and as he's coming down pit lane, the other front tire came off.
Oh my God.
And what happened is we got some kids to help us, and the kids put the tire on, but they didn't put it on the pins.
Oh.
They missed the pins and then tightened the lug nut down.
But not on
once
the-
the tire
yeah.
slipped and into the pins,
That was it.
now it's loose.
Oh my God.
Oh, that was about the most embarrassing thing for Brumos.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's a great point too. Not even to mention, like, you're pissed off. You've lost position in a race. Now you have to recover, but it shows a level of unprofessionalism, right?
Oh, it was, well, you know, that's what getting some help sometimes will do. We were trying to run too many cars, so we just got people to help. And I remember Jim Bailey comes on the radio, "Who put the tires on a 962? Or I think he said Porsche at first. And I'm thinking, because I was at the 43 car. I had Jim France and Chad McQueen driving the 43 car. And I'm thinking, oh,
Back when Chad was
yeah,
racing.
my stunts, and it was, but it was the 962, and a couple.
You're like,
of
I don't know
kids-
what they're doing, but we're doing okay over here.
Yeah, actually,
guys
they're
are
real
on.
good. Chad was a fun guy to work with.
Yeah.
He drove that car a bunch, and Chad was when he had his accident.
I was gonna say he was pretty fast before he got in that wreck.
He was real good, and he was in the Taffel car, and he had the accident, and he was in the hospital at what is it? Can't think of the name of that hospital now. In Daytona. We picked his family up here in Jacksonville and took them down the next day, and that was a sad time.
Yeah.
I mean, he looked bad when we went on a respirator.
I believe it. Yeah, I mean, he almost lost his life over it. I mean,
but Chad is just a great guy.
Yeah.
We had so much fun with him, and
awesome dude.
he is
Awesome dude.
And
such a bummer. Like his I after that accident, I always wondered. I was like, man, I wonder what he could have been. Had that accident not had happened.
You're right.
Like I wonder what because he was a good driver, and just like most drivers, like they get better and better, right? Like so like who knows where he could have been? Like
he's a great motorcyclist too. I mean, he was good on a dirt bike. I think that beat him up a lot.
Oh yeah.
And you couldn't slow him down. But yeah, Chad was something else.
Yeah.
We loved that guy. We still do.
Yeah.
Seen him at Rensport this last time.
Yeah.
He
good
was,
dude. He's always he's I would imagine, just from his father and all that stuff, but he's just a good people person too. That's.
We did the first Lime Rock or first Rensport at Lime Rock in what was it, 2000, 2001?
2001. Yeah.
And that's when Paul Newman was driving our car and crashed.
Yeah.
That's the hood on his car.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, man, I remember you guys talking about that. And Aaron was telling about that story. He's like,
some car spun in front of me. He hit him, and I'm on the radio with Paul, and I said, "Are you okay?" And he goes, "I've crashed bad. The car's not going to move." And I said, "Are you okay?" I mean, it's all Brumos need to do is hurt Paul Newman. But
wait a minute.
Anyway,
I don't care about the car. Are you okay?
But that Lime Rock was a good one.
Yeah.
And working with Paul was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I remember Aaron. I want to say it was probably, wow, what is it now? It was probably like actually 8 or 9 months ago when we were back there with Brandon. He was showing me some of the race carnage from some of the cars. Yeah. He's like, "Oh yeah, this is off a 935 so and so raced, and this is the hood off us." I was like, "Man, this stuff is so cool!" Like, because I'm just a race geek. I was like, "I want it."
Yeah, we used to have that in the museum over at the other place, but this is a little different. So it's kind of out in our storage room. But we decided we had to do something with
the secret vault, right?
Yeah. So we lined the walls up with a lot of this bodywork, and you've got a prototype fender that they ran on at 934 that Jack Atkinson had come up with, and just stuff that you don't throw anything away.
Of course,
that's the way race shops are,
and then over time in attrition. It wasn't important at the time, just like, when you're racing, you rewind the clock even back in the 80s and stuff, and you have debris, you don't even go grab it. But if you did go grab it and you save it, now fast forward to modern times and you're like, oh, wow.
That would have been great to
now
have.
it's historic. Well, that was the whale tail off of that car.
Think
was
about
this.
the things you could have kept, or cars you could have kept.
Yeah. And you're just like, oh, no, that's junk. Because, I mean, you think about it, like you're racing for the present. You're not thinking about the future.
Yeah, right.
Because you're like, we're trying to win right now. Okay, yeah, well, that fender is junk right now. Get it out of here.
You probably got a truck driver that says, I don't have room for that.
Yeah.
And so all that dumpster diving used to be a big deal back at the racetrack. People you see them walking out with a tire or body work. And
all of those things are hiding somewhere in some shed somewhere,
exactly
probably in
right.
the middle of Tennessee somewhere. And it's like, man, I got this fender when I went down to Daytona, and I still have it. It's out in my work shed now, and it's just sitting in there. And you're like, we actually need that to rebuild that car.
Well, that's and there again, it goes to you guys that are kind of calling attention to road racing, because road racing always struggled a little bit in the United States as far as viewers, and NASCAR just kind of in this part of the country just kind of blew up.
Yeah.
And
the South, it's always been strong.
Yeah. But road racing, even when the NASCAR people get involved with it, it's very intriguing to them. And you get some of the guys that run the 24-hour, and I remember Michael Waltrip was running a Ferrari down there. And
I always love seeing NASCAR guys, especially when it's on a dual weekend. You know exactly what I'm talking about. And they're like, okay, well, they're at, like you said, Lime Rock this weekend. Or if they're at Charlotte, they're like, okay, well, IMSA's running on Saturday. like in an hour and a half race, I'm going to try to get into a car because I'm racing on Sunday in the NASCAR series, so I want to go race in one of the IMSA cars.
They love it. And
Yeah.
I remember Walter got out of the car down there, and he goes, man, I've run 500s and went home and mowed the yard. And I run 45 minutes at night, and I'm wore out.
Yeah.
But, yeah, that braking and shifting is new to some
Yeah,
of them.
turns.
Yeah, break,
Yeah.
shift, turn.
Yeah.
I really think that would help NASCAR if they would bring, say, 50% of the races were
Roll
road
back to
courses.
roads.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so too. I think it would revitalize NASCAR a lot
I mean,
because
they've done everything else. They
Yeah.
brought Japanese cars in. They
Exactly.
got some women in, and they've tried to be as diverse as they can
Yeah.
be. Well, that'll bring in some fans, but I think there's a road race bunch out there.
I agree.
They'd probably change the driver talent too.
Oh,
Yeah.
you'd see some different names at the top.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
Absolutely. Yeah, because you're right. Because there'd probably be some crossover, right? Like some of the best road racing guys in endurance racing would say, hey, I'm going to, okay, well, if 50% of the stuff is road racing, I got a shot at winning a
That's
championship here.
exactly right.
Like-
And, they get a ringer every day. They get Max Pappas, or they'll get Borsett, or
Yeah,
some of
yeah.
these guys come in and run their road courses because they only
Exactly.
got a few.
Yeah.
They go at the Glen and Sonoma maybe,
Yeah.
and just
I mean, you see it. You even see it in road racing. You see a lot of pseudo-retired F1 drivers
Right.
racing road racing stuff, like going, racing for BMW, racing for whoever, to get a seat, and because they're just those kind of alpha males that are like, I want to continue to race. Maybe I can't win at the F1 level, but I know I can still win somewhere.
Well, you're right. They're. I mean, they could probably, because of their name and their experience, get a ride.
Oh,
a
yeah.
little easier. But I always had a lot of respect for IndyCar drivers.
Yeah,
It's just,
I agree.
I mean, it's like NASCAR on steroids. I
Yeah.
mean, they're right next to each other with all little
Yeah.
protection, and it's just something else.
Well, that's the thing is like, a lot of people that maybe have been on track and, okay, you're in a car, it's different. But, man, when you're in an open wheel car, it changes the dynamic incredibly. And a lot of people that are listening and watching, you don't have to get into an Indy car, an F1 car to get that feel. Just go karting, like actual karting,
Yeah, you're
outdoor
right.
karting.
You're right.
And it's actually, you're going to get 50% of the feel because you're on the ground. Those things are going 50, 60 miles an hour.
Which is
It's
fast
open
enough.
wheel, and you're sitting on the ground, and you're like, this is what a F1 car looks like? Just imagine, okay, so then times that by
It's
3.
multiplied, yeah.
So, like, now you're going 180, and that's what it feels like. And you're like, yeah, those guys are super talented.
Oh yeah, they are. They have to be.
I mean, the
If you're-
reaction time is unreal those guys have. It's just like, okay, hairpin, this, okay, done.
Hurley did his little Indy stint. He did a couple of years. He was
Yeah, yeah.
fastest rookie, I think.
Yeah.
But the Kiss 99 car.
Mm-hmm.
We used to give Hurley a hard time. But, yeah, Hurley. Indy car was just, like I say, even back in the early days with
Mm-hmm.
the old cars. And, of course, Dan, he's kind of infatuated with the early Indy
Yeah,
cars
yeah.
and the Millers. And
Well, they're gorgeous cars too.
They
On
are.
top of it,
And,
they're really pretty cars. And I can see why he likes them because they look fast sitting there. Like
true.
even like the modern F1 cars, like they've changed so much. Yeah, it's fast, but like on that, like I always call it, there's a lot of engine jewelry you get to see
There
still
is.
with those
There
cars.
is.
You see the header sticking straight out of the car, and you're just like, wow, this is when like men were men, and there was.
And sheep were scared.
Yeah, and there was no
Yep.
barrier to save you, and there was no safety equipment. And not saying it was right or wrong, it was just a different time, and that's just what they dealt with, and that's what they worked with. And unfortunately, a lot of people lost their lives racing during that time. But that's what made it like scary and exciting, and wow, you're one of those guys who do that.
Yeah.
You're nuts. You know what I mean? Like one of those type of deals.
Yeah, racing was a real dangerous sport.
Yeah. I mean, literally every time you went on track, you could die today. And not because of your own fault.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, we got the Novi in there that Chet Miller and who was the other one that died? 2 people died
Yeah.
in that car.
Yeah.
So it's, it was, It was a real sport.
Yeah, even road racing back in the day, like you see these horrible crashes back at Le Mans. All these before there was any of that safety stuff. It was just nuts.
yeah.
It was a nutso time.
Remember when the Mercedes went off and killed all those people?
Yeah.
What, 58 or
yeah,
55
like
or
just
something?
slaughtered a bunch of
I
people.
think that's when AAA, she used to be the sanctioning body forever for Indy. They pulled out at that time.
Yeah.
And of course, Mercedes didn't race again until,
Yeah.
99? They came
Yeah,
back with the Silver Arrow. and
Yeah, that was
Kicked everybody's butt and went back home.
Yeah, they're like, yeah, we've been out for a few decades, but like we're back. Yeah, yeah. It's come a long, long way, I guess is what I'm getting at. But I can see Dan's affinity towards that time because those cars are really, really special looking, and you think about what gumption it took basically to get into that car to begin with. First of all, like if you took somebody and it's like, okay, you're going to go in this car, and we need you to go as fast as you can. You're like, okay. You're like, no, but I mean it. Like, you need to win. Like, I'm not saying, like, your speed fast. Like, you got to beat all of these other guys that are racing the same thing. And if they're rubbing against you and they're right next to you and you can slap each other and all that kind of stuff, like, I need you to keep going. Like, I need you to win. Are you capable of doing that? And that was just an unreal time. Like, to think that even anywhere before safety, like they allowed it to happen. That's what's even crazy.
Yeah. I mean, you can't have safety until something happens, and they go, okay.
Yeah, but the thing
Well,
about
this
it
is
is,
being
even at
developed.
that time, it was happening. That's the
Yeah.
crazy. Like people were crashing, people were dying, but there were no answers to really fix anything. They just kept racing. They're like,
Yeah.
oh, hey, sorry, old Joe perished last weekend in a horrible crash. He was a great guy and he could drink a lot of beers, but sorry about it, man. He was a fast driver. I actually kind of secretly glad he's not here anymore because maybe now I can win.
Yeah. Well, Eddie Sachs, when that big crash, that fireball crash, they made a change and kind of went to alcohol.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, alcohol is much more controlled burning and it doesn't explode like that.
Yeah.
Problem is you can't see when a guy's on fire.
That's the scary part.
They
It's like,
tell the-
I'm on fire, and it's like, I can't see that you're on fire.
Well, they
I'm
tell
burning.
the fire bottle, if you're dancing, just drown that guy.
Exactly.
But, and Porsche, though, Dan loves these cars, but he's a big Porsche nut. And let's face it, Porsche himself wanted fun cars.
Mm-hmm.
And
That's
if
what they
you
were
love
birthed in, was
driving-
racing.
Exactly.
That's what, and I've always said this too, and you could probably support me on this. Aaron and I talk about this a lot. You have all these people who ended up making cars, and all the manufacturers that will go on unnamed when they were like making cars. Like for example, like Ford, they wanted to make cars for the masses, whatever. Well, when Porsche first made cars, they're like, we're making a car to go racing, and like, oh, by the way, we'll make some road cars to support our racing.
That's right.
And when you have a company that kind of has that mindset from the birth, like as a consumer, you're always going to win because you're getting a version of some type of race car that's funneled down to your street car.
And it's amazing how they kept the same product and kind of kept perfecting it. I mean, you think about it. Until 1998, you still had a steel dash with leather stripped on, all the way till 98.
Exactly.
99, the first 996.
And they were still the same principles with the air-cooled engine
Yes.
still. And they
Yeah.
ran that for so long. Like, think about how long other companies were running radiators in their car to cool their engine, and they were still running air-cooled
still
stuff.
works.
It's the only place you put water in a Porsche is the windshield washer
Exactly.
reservoir.
Exactly.
But you know what? When the water-cooled car comes out, I get these people, I've got an air. I said, have you driven one of the new water-cooled cars? Well, no. I said, well, then don't, because
Yeah.
it's going to spoil your whole
Yeah,
day.
they're incredible.
They are. I mean, when you went to 4 valves per cylinder, the volumetric or the way the engine breathed was just huge.
Yeah.
And I tell people that they say, well, the Boxster only has this much torque, and this. The problem is, or the beauty is, it gets 90% of that torque at about 1,700 RPM. When that 911 may have the same amount of torque, or that air-cooled car, it doesn't get it till about 3,500
Exactly.
RPM. Well, guess what? You got to go from 0 to 35. Well, I'm going to get to 17 much quicker.
Absolutely.
So, and what else did that do? It made automatic transmissions work well, because now that torque
Usability.
converter that was robbing all that torque,
Yep.
it can rob it because it's got plenty.
Exactly.
Right off,
It can make it now.
American cars back in the day, they developed their torque
Oh, yeah.
1,200 RPM. you know.
Exactly.
So a torque converter didn't affect those cars hardly at all. But
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. I mean, you think about it from a brand like, and we talk about it a lot with air-cooled and water-cooled, where there's such a divide. There shouldn't be, because honestly, it's still a product of Porsche. It's not like it's a lesser product. It's just not an air-cooled product. It's actually a more modern, refined product. And
I mean, it was as far as they could go.
Yeah,
Well,
and
they
you,
need
and
to
it's
make
still, if
power
you still
and-
look
yeah.
at a Porsche, right, for displacement, like they're producing ungodly amount of horsepower. You get a 4-liter that produces over 500 horsepower. That's unreal in a street car. Like you think about all these other manufacturers that have to build, a 5.7 liter or a 6 liter just to get 500 horsepower. Porsche's doing it at a 4 liter, and they're doing it out of less cylinders.
exactly. Well,
Yeah.
as
And
you said before, I mean, these cars, what air-cooled car couldn't go to all these 4 valves and bigger displacement, because you've got rid of all your way to dissipate heat. The metal's gone.
Yeah.
And I think with the 959, they figured out early, let's water cool the heads.
Oh yeah.
They've
Well, they
been
even
doing
openly admitted it
racing.
was a test bed for them.
Yeah.
They're like, "Hey, we're going to test this out and see how this works, and like if it works well, this is going to be our future."
Yeah, and so what? Even Harley Davidson, for God's sake, are building water cooled motors
Yep.
now.
Absolutely.
You give an engineer, you say, all right, you've got to meet emissions. Here's your temperature range. It's from whatever it is, cold ambient temperature, to we're also going to put an AC condenser in front of your cooling fan. So they've got a huge span that they got to try to make this thing meet emissions in.
Yeah.
You give them a water cooled car, and they're going to say, you're right up to 180 degrees, and it may go to 195 degrees.
Yeah.
So
You're like-
there's the parameters
You're
you
like,
have
yeah,
to work with.
we're fine.
And so, I mean, that's made a huge difference.
Oh,
with
yeah.
all manufacturers, not just Porsche.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah, and I say that to people all the time too, because some people are just stuck in it. I mean, I have an air cooled. I love air cooled. I have a water cooled too, but like I like both, which is nice. But I feel like if you're a real Porsche fan, you really do have to have both, because you got to have a foot in both eras, right? Like you got to have a foot in the classics, and then you have to have a foot in the modern era, because what they're doing is special on both ends, right? Like, so you have a page that you've turned, but you're never going to forget with the air cooled. And it's a super special car. But let's be real, like you said, back to heating and displacement and like cooling and all that stuff. If you want to make power, and you don't want to put you don't want to go more cylinders, and you want to keep the flat 6, you want to do all that stuff. I mean, the only way to do it is to cool it down.
right.
So
Well, so now, did you see the future when you got that 964, or?
no, I didn't actually. I just love that car, and I was just like, I bought it 6 years ago, and people actually thought I was nuts when I bought that car, because I actually kind of paid up when I bought that. I actually bought it from Dick Barber.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah. So I reached out to him. I heard he was going to sell it, so I reached out to him, and it didn't look anything like it did. It was just a bone stock C2, with the D90 wheels and not lowered. It was just his daily driver. He picked it up in Santa Barbara, and I was like, hey, I'd like to buy it just because you owned it, and I'll do whatever I do to it. But a lot of people are like, I think he wanted I think I paid like $38 for it 6 years ago, and people are like, you're nuts. What are you doing? That car is garbage.
You saw the future is what you did.
I wish I did. Like, had I saw the future, I'd have just been gobbling. I would have bought 10 of them if I did see the future. But yeah, everybody that I know that it was close enough to me, even in the air cooled war, were like, I can't believe you're buying that thing for $38,000. You're insane. Like that, you're buying junk for $38,000. And I'm like, well, I like the way it is. Like
sequential fuel injection, coil over springs. No, I mean it was.
Oh no, that's all. Everything you're saying is the reason why I was buying, because I did. I knew Porsche stuff, so I was doing my research, and I was like, this is the future. This is the future air cooled car. Like, and for me, and like I have nothing against a 993, but for me, the 964 is kind of, for me, for classic air cooled cars, is where it ends, because it still has the pontoon headlights. It's classic 911 still. It doesn't lay down more like the 993 does. And I like, for some reason, that car just is the perfect blend of the past and where the future came in the 90s with Porsche. And I know it was like a bridge point, they were struggling as a company, but I feel like that car, just for me aesthetically looking at that car, and I'm like, this is classic Porsche with modern guts, essentially.
Well, that's true.
You know, and that's the best way I can describe that car, and that's why I always lusted over a 964.
We did the supercar. It was, you know, not a lot of changes. I mean, you didn't have to go in. A lot of, you know, torsion bar cars, you went in and put coilovers on it. There was none of that.
Yeah. I remember Harris saying, I think the first time he rode with Hurley was in the 965 that you guys had, the turbo, and he goes, I almost peed myself when I rode with him. I think I rode with him at Roebling when he was like taking people around on Roebling Road, and he goes, I almost peed myself when he drove that car around there. He's like, that car was unbelievably fast.
Oh, it was cool. I went around Laguna Seca with Hans Stuck in the 58 car.
Oh, yeah?
And he's going to try to scare you to death. The problem is I didn't have a seat. I only had that roll bar to hang on
so
to.
you were just holding
Yeah,
that?
but it was Hans Stuck, man.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
But
He tried to kill me.
but you're right. They've got the Buckeyes. It does look. I mean, I always
Because
like
it changes a lot after
I like the
993.
993s too.
I do too, but it's a different car,
It
right?
is a different
like,
car.
You can almost take like or early short wheelbase 911 back when they were even 901s, and you could put a 964 to it, and you go, I can see where these cars are super close still, super close still.
Some of the purists would give you a hard time about it, though.
Yeah,
you know,
of
because
course they would.
Well, when the 911 come out, they didn't like that car. you
No.
know?
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, that's a whole nother thing. The 356 crowd is like, their allegiance is unbelievable. Like, they're just like, whoa. I'm like, all right, come on, man. It's a Super Beetle. Let's get over it.
It
Like,
is. I mean, I love the cars. Believe me. We just did that Pre-A in there. That was our last project over at the other place.
They're
and,
gorgeous. Don't get me wrong, but like, you know,
love
you're a
them.
track guy. Like, you know, you want a little bit of speed out of the thing. Come on. I mean, it's
Hurley's getting an outlaw car. It's
yeah,
gonna be
like
delivered.
Rod's building one, right?
Yes,
yeah.
yes. Rod. He just talked to Emery. Rod.
Actually, he's going to be taking delivery, I think, pretty soon.
Yes,
of it.
December.
Yeah.
He just told me yesterday.
Yeah. He's
December.
super excited about it. I
He
remember
is.
talking to him about it not too long ago, and he's like, "Man, Rod's building me a car. I can't wait."
He can't wait, and it's perfect for St. Augustine.
Yeah, it's going to be a perfect car.
Yeah.
Rod builds some amazing
It
stuff.
is. I think Jeff Gamroff's doing some of the motors. Jeff
Yeah.
used to work with us up in with the supercars.
He works a
back in the
lot
day.
with Jeff for his engine builds,
Yeah.
and which like that crazy split case 964. Like Jeff built that motor for that, like, you know, that turbo car that he built, that wide body.
Right.
Jeff built that
Yeah.
motor for that car. Yeah.
Jeff was so fun. We in '93 we run Laguna Seca. First lap, Nick Ham runs into the back of Hurley. Hits him so hard it broke the main shaft in two on the gearbox.
What?
Tore a car up bad. Hans Stuck wins the race.
Uh-huh.
Well, we load the cars up and we go to Oregon and we take it to Jeff's shop.
Uh-huh.
And we stripped the car down and we got the thing ready. It was ready back at, in fact, I rebuilt the gearbox. And Hans tore a gearbox up when he was practicing on a Thursday. So we had a new gearbox. Well, the new gearbox, we ended up putting Hurley's car, and I repaired the one that Hans had. And then right before the race on Sunday, or Saturday night when everybody left, Springer says, let's take the new box, put it in Hans' car. It's not that I don't trust you, but, you know. So, okay. 'Cause
You're like,
this
that's
was-
exactly what that is.
Yes. So, but, you know, the gearbox did good in the
Yeah.
other car, but I understand it because, I mean, it was like the second to the last race. That was Portland, and we went to Sebring in the championship.
Yeah.
The next one. And, but
Jeff's fantastic, man.
he's a great guy. We had such a fun time.
There's a
in his
lot
shop there.
of like modern builders that employ him to build the engines for their cars, you know, like, I mean, some of the big names, you know, they're building the air-cooled cars that are sending stuff out to him, that he's building high-dollar motors for them.
I think he had a little 69 911. He had Hans Stuck sign the top of it. I believe
Yeah.
he still got that.
That's
car.
awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, Jeff was just, and he's a great family guy. He's
Yeah.
just a good guy.
And you know what I love about Jeff too, because I actually had a friend recently try to like commission him to do like a upscaled, like I think a 4-liter air-cooled motor or something like that. And Jeff like flat out like, and that's what I love about Jeff. He's super transparent. You know, he's just like, hey, I'm about a year and a half out, and this is the price. And he's like, the guy had sticker shock on the price, and I'm like, well, it's Jeff.
Yeah.
Like, what? I mean, he builds. I mean, let's just be honest. Like, he builds stuff for Singer. He builds stuff for, you know, the other. What's the 993 place that's doing cars?
Gunther Works.
Gunther
Yeah.
Works. He builds their car like engines. Like, he's busy building stuff. Like, and it's not that he doesn't want to build your stuff. He's out. Like Lee Keen. If you want to do a safari car, you're 2 years out. There's a list.
Yep.
I mean, it's these guys are in high demand.
Good
and,
guys have lists.
Yeah.
Well, they do just, I don't know, they have a knack. I mean, I've done a lot of 911 engines, and I used to but you get around Jeff and David Glenn, and some of these guys that they just kind of got a knack for it. That's all they do.
Yeah.
And they got
They're-
every little special thing.
It goes back to the thing you said earlier, and I keep reiterating. Like, their specialty is engines. Like,
Yep.
the guys on the track, you have your specialty, whatever it is. You're the electronics guy. You're like, you fix that. And like, those guys are real. They have the brain for that. They've been doing it for all of those years. They have all of those years invested in it. They know them like the back of their hands. And those are the guys you want to build your special engine. Like, end of story.
Yeah.
And he's such a good guy too. Actually, like, he came to Miami, I want to say in February, and talked to him a little bit. And when he brought his safari car down, he actually brought that. It was pretty fun to see it and like ripping that around. And he was doing like burnouts in the street with it. And I was like, man, Jeff is still awesome.
Yeah, he is. He's fun. He was a fun guy.
Yeah.
We ran a car. Tim Ralston owned it. And let's see, was it Jorge Triez, I guess, drove it. But it ended up being the 55 car wasn't Dave Clem, who was it? Can't think of his name now, but that car turned out to be a good car.
Yeah.
Who was it? Dennis Ossie.
Okay. Nice.
I remember we saw it the first year, and it was a plain Jane white car. We ran number 69. And Bob could have put Brumos on it, but no, I don't know about Jeff Ralston. I will see.
Yeah.
I don't know. Well, about in the middle of the night, we're sixth, and it's doing good. And Rob Dyson goes over to Bob's motorhome, and he walks in. And he goes, "Isn't that your guys?" And he goes, "Well, I've got a couple of guys on the team, but you should have had your name on that car." It was great. And it was number 69.
Missed opportunity on that one.
Everybody thought, you should have got Cafe Erotica or somebody to do the car.
Oh, yeah, that would have been hilarious.
But that was a lot of fun. But Dennis
was
Ossie got a hold of that car the next year, and it ended up the 55 car. I think Jorge Triez drove it. And God, when Dennis got rid of it, it had a removable front end, and it was Dennis Ossie. He was cool.
Yeah.
Him and his brother, they were.
Talking about those stories just reminded me, it sparked my memory of like a story that was shared when Jeff Zwart bought an engine from you guys at Brumos because he saw it in the classifieds. Like, I think it was like a race engine for an RSR car that he saw that he bought from Brumos. That's kind of the cool stuff that Brumos still used to do from even like a parts perspective. You guys house because you guys race stuff, and he was racing Pikes Peak and he needed an engine, so he ended up sourcing an engine from Jacksonville to go race in Colorado, which is kind of crazy.
If we would have run the Supercar Series in '94, we would have ran Pikes Peak. Mm-hmm. So we had a Pikes Peak motor that Andal had done for us.
Yeah.
And so we didn't run in '94. We did the LM deal with the factory,
Yeah.
And so that car sat in parts. And Buddy Kennedy, you've talked to Robert, his dad.
Yep.
I mean, Buddy Kennedy had been there
Yeah,
forever.
he was parts manager. Yeah.
And Buddy wheeling and dealing
man.
ended up with it. I just sold an old 928 engine that we had. Because, I loved 928s.
Yeah.
I built my home on 928s.
Yeah, they're amazing cars.
I thought they were cool back in the day.
I still want one. I still think they're cool. Like, I would like to have one. Like, from a nostalgia standpoint, I think they're awesome.
I had a black 88 5-speed, and I'd love to still have it.
You know what? I want one. It has Porsche interior.
Yeah, Porsche interior is cool.
Yeah.
That was the first year when in '77 when they came out.
Yeah.
They had that interior in them. And
Speaking of that, Prototype has it, right?
Yeah,
Porsche interior.
Furman was a big deal. That was his deal, the waving checkered flag
Yeah,
or
yeah.
whatever. Well, Furman was kind of against the 959. He wanted to phase out the 911s. And, of course, Peter Schutz and Helmut Bott. Peter Schutz, no, I don't think you should do that. So when they did this car, being a pre-prototype, to kind of appease Furman, they put his interior.
Oh, that's why it's in there.
And so that's what Peter told me. Anyway, Peter Schutz. And
to kind of like pad it a little bit to be like, hey, man, it's kind of cool.
Peter Schutz, that was another thing about Brumos. We got to be around Peter a lot. He did an interview with, or what was the guy's name that used to do a Pinnacle? It was a show on CNN. He's a finance guy now on Fox News, British guy. I can't think of his name. But he did a program, and he interviewed Peter Schutz back in 1983, 84.
Wow, okay.
And Peter, we did it at the dealership, and that's the first time we got to meet Peter. You know, they asked us a few questions, and I'm sure he come over to me. I sound like a damn hillbilly, but it was funny. I'm gonna have me one of these days, you know. But,
I like this one a lot.
But Peter Schutz was amazing, and we struck up a big rapport with Peter. We brought the first Speedster in. It was an '85. Rick Riley still has it now. You probably
G-body Speedster, yeah.
Yeah, it was the little short windshield. It was the first one. It was an '85 911 that Porsche had done this. And they had a hard top that went on it, a tonneau cover, and then a big windshield, and then a little windshield.
Yeah.
And we put it in all these configurations, and Bill Werner did some pictures for Road and Track, and we drove it around a little bit. But it was great to really get to know Peter real well.
Yeah.
And then, of course, we ran the 928 in '94. That was funny. It was number 92, and they didn't want 3 numbers. Say, we don't need 3 numbers. You got 92. So Bob wanted 928.
Yeah.
And so if you look at that car close, a model of it, a picture of the car that ran with the Brumos livery, or it was a Style Auto car.
Style Auto, yeah. I remember.
Because Michael
had the
and Mario
windshield banner
Andretti,
where it said Brumos.
on it. And Mario and Michael was driving the first 962, and it was all white, number 1.
Yeah.
And but Bob snuck over there and put an 8. And you look at it; it's close. It's right beside the 2.
Really? I'll have to go back and go back and look at that.
Look at it. You see a little 8 right beside it. It was very cool. And that car, they boasted that car, kept saying, you know, it was a street legal in Germany, and so it did real well. We had Hagstad and a bunch of different people drove the car.
Yeah.
And Atwood and Vic Alford. And
It had good balance, right? It was a 50-50 car, right?
It was a 50-50 car. It was a great car. And I think it was 6th in GTO. It was doing good. But middle of the night, a piece of Mazda tail went through the windshield.
Oh.
And Eckhart Schneider, he was a factory mechanic, was the shop foreman at Brumos when I got there. He was a factory rep for a long time.
Okay.
Redhead. He used to do the 917 for us. When I've been with Brumos forever, but we were the fuelers. You had a bottle on one side and the fuel hose on the other. You know, we'd switched around. But that car. That piece of Mazda tail went through the windshield in the middle of the night. So I got in the car and I had my feet pushing it out. As soon as we got it broke loose, get over there. Also, I'd jump out, and the Germans fixed it, and they just taped another windshield in it. Well, the next morning,
speed tape, done.
Peter Schutz comes down to the pits, and he says, Bob says, well, how we doing? And Bob says, well, he says, it doesn't say Brumos on the windshield anymore. There's a tape stuck in the tape deck, and we heard the factory was going to void our warranty. Peter just loved that, you know. But,
the factory's going to void our warranty.
It was a lot of fun because all the factory guys was around the 962, and then, of course, the transmission cooked in that car. They used to blame Michael. The Andretti's tore the gearbox up. No, they didn't. They had the turbine right on top of the gearbox. And that kind of got changed, but it kind of cooked the gearbox. But And at that time, in '84, you weren't allowed to change the gearbox. But the Germans did it anyway. So, this is going to be R&D from now on. But that was a lot of fun.
Let's do it now.
Yeah. Norbert Singer. It's funny, when Norbert was down there, I was showing him and his wife some pictures of him standing there, and he's this flat stomach, and you see now he's a big guy. And she goes, "Oh, look, Norbert." Sorry, Norbert, I didn't mean to.
Exactly. He's like, great, this sinks.
And
You used to be so thin.
That's it. Norbert Singer, he was something else too.
Good guy, man.
But yeah, just being at Brumos, you got to be around all those kind of people, and
Yeah,
it just made.
I think it just goes back to that legacy, though, because like you guys were so passionate about like your racing, and I think it just resonated throughout the racing community. I think everybody kind of felt that. Like you didn't even have to be spoken; it could just see the culture that you guys had within, like the family when you guys would show up and you guys would race and the way you would perform. Like that got contagious, you know. Like other people would see it and they're just like, "I want to be a part of it."
It's just like a deeper level to Porsche.
Yeah,
It's
like they just want to be a Porsche,
extra
especially
in.
if you're
Yeah.
a Porsche fan or if you had any affiliation to Porsche, you probably wanted to be a part of it. You just were like, "Yes, I want it. How do I get in with you guys? How do I do this? Like, please help me."
Well, I mean, you worked for Bob, and he was pretty demanding. Some people didn't handle that very well.
Yeah, feast or
And,
famine, huh?
Yeah, and it was too bad because he was such a great guy, and but you know, you became part of the family or you didn't.
Yeah, I think it goes back to one of those things. Like if you can, it's almost like an in-dock, right? Like if you can pass that and you can cut it, then you're going to fit in just fine. If you can't, then this isn't your place, and you're still a good person, but you're just not going to mesh well here. It's just not going to work.
Yeah, you're right. That's kind of the way it was.
Yeah. But I mean, I think that probably ultimately that culture carried through because it resonated through your success. Like, I think that if him being that not demanding, let's say just kind of like, let's pretend it's a gate and the gate is open and whoever comes in, and if they're moderate, they can stay. Well, then I think that diminishes what your performance level would have been.
You're not making excellence at that point.
Yeah.
All right.
Making mediocrity.
And you know, Sigmund Marlin was that way in the service department. I mean, he demanded perfection in the service department.
Yeah.
And there were nights we just stayed late. It was to please a customer, not to make extra money.
Yeah.
And that's just kind of the way he wanted. And Siggy was a great little German guy too, full of spunk and fun. Remember the Audi 100s, the early Audi 100s in
The
70,
super
the LS one.
like the first one. Yeah. Goofy looking car.
Oh, the inboard brakes in the front,
Yeah.
all kinds of crazy stuff. Well, one of them came in and they had the delamination in the windows and it had the little like bubbles. In the glass.
Yeah. Like in between where it's just like.
Yeah, it's just little bubbles. And Siggy goes, oh, because the guy came in and he complained about it. He goes, car service, I've got this windshield's got to be. Siggy goes, oh, no, you're lucky. You got the champagne edition. And the guy goes, well, that's great. No, we change your windshield. The guy goes, no, I like it. I want to keep the champagne windshield. I'm kidding.
Yeah, he's like, I just made that up, guy.
Siggy was something else. A big fun guy.
That's hilarious.
I remember there was a dragonfly running around in the shop. I probably spent 20 minutes trying to catch it and just banging around and stuff, you know, and I have a big soft heart and it comes to anything living. And I take it outside and I let it go. It didn't go 20 feet and a mockingbird comes down out,
Snatches it.
snaps it right up. And Siggy laughed. He goes, "The look on your face." But yeah,
You're like, I can't believe that just happened.
Siggy he was just great. There was
Yeah.
a reason a lot of people stayed at Brumos in the service
It
department.
means a lot, man. I tell you what. I mean, as you know, Porsche fans are nuts, and in a good way, where they want to be able to trust the people who touch their babies, and that means a lot when you have somebody who cares for your car, like you would, even if you don't have the skill set, but you feel that through them. You're like, okay, this guy's taking care, and he makes sure his staff takes care of my car. You're like, I don't care what it costs, I will bring my car there. I don't care if I have to drive 3 hours to come to this place. I'm going to do it because I know they have me.
And you know, we went to a little extra. We would bring out, remember the dual mass flywheel problems? We had to pull a lot of cars out. And well, you got to pull my engine. I said, you come back here. Why don't you take some pictures of the engine? I'll guarantee you there won't be a clamp turned a different way. This is just a normal thing.
Yeah.
And we'd keep them back there and let them get a little bit involved. And a lot of shops, insurance says you can't come back here.
Absolutely.
And all this. But, you know, the heck with it. Back then, like you said, that was their baby. That was their passion. They could buy anything to drive
Of course,
every day.
yeah.
And
most of them are affluent people. They have enough money, like you said. They could buy anything. They could buy a Maserati. They could buy a Mercedes. They could do whatever they want. But they picked a Porsche, and they want that level of service. They like the engineering behind it, and a lot of people are lifelong Porsche people, all like us. I mean, all of us were struck at a young age, and maybe they're not always the best in every category, but overall they win all the time. And for us, like, we're just like, that's the brand for me. Like, I'm never going to step out of that. Like, I don't need anything else than that. Like, that's what works for me.
Porsche.
Yeah.
We used to have little stickers that said, Porsche is a 2-syllable word. We had it stuck.
Remember that commercial in the 80s where they even had that, like, how to say it?
Yes.
It's
Yeah, I do remember
pronounced
that.
Porsche. Not porch. Porsche.
Yeah.
The good old days.
Okay.
Well, do you have anything else for Don? I know we've had him for a long
I didn't
time.
have a lot, but no, I don't.
Okay. Well, thank you for sharing so much with us.
This
I was entertaining, man. Like,
Yeah, it was.
Fun. I'm not good when it comes to this stuff, but
you're fantastic. What are you talking about?
if you
Like,
could just lay around with us while we're working, we
Yeah.
can have a lot of fun.
No.
You got to do that. We need to come in one day when we got
We
a
will.
project, or when we take a car to the track.
we will. Absolutely.
Come down. Maybe you can go
Yeah.
pro it all up.
Yeah, we will. Like, definitely. I'll talk to Brandon about it, and the next time you guys want to go like run something, we'll make the drive and we'll meet you guys, and that'll be great.
Is
And
it a long drive for you?
No, not at all. A couple hours.
Oh,
Not too
yeah,
bad.
it's come up. We got to get the cars out next drive. We'll get the 962 out.
Oof.
We're going to take the 959.
We'll
here
be
in a
there.
week or two.
We'll be there.
You got us.
We'll be there. I'll be like, somebody, I just want to ride shotgun. I just want to be in this thing while you guys do it. Like you are, like I'll be hanging on, like, ah.
Maybe come to Daytona.
Yeah.
To 24.
Yeah.
Like I say, 24
We'll be there.
minutes. We're going to drive, probably take the original 914, the
Mm-hmm.
orange one, the little orange 911,
Yeah.
the 70 ST car, and the 2012
Okay.
GT car.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And
We'll be there
I don't
for
know, maybe one more.
AHSR, and we'll be there for the Rolex. We'll be there for both.
yeah.
So we'll be
And,
there.
this is we got with Timmy Pendergast, and he said just bring whatever you want. I have the 19 car that was Burt Roberts.
Okay.
Prayers go out to Burt too. He's
Yeah.
not doing good, and
Yeah.
Burt was head of MCI back in the day, and is responsible for some of these cars that
Yeah.
we have up here. And he's I just talked to his son. He's not doing real well,
Yeah.
but he ran his Burt flag back in the day and drove the Brumos 19 car.
That's awesome.
And Jack Baldwin used to drive with him, and Jack Baldwin is just
Yeah,
something else.
absolutely.
And the Dale Earnhardt of Trans Am, I think.
Yeah, that was the dubbed name.
And he was just he's a great guy to be around. Jack Baldwin was, but I have that 19 car. We had three of the 914s that had Hewlins in them, and that's one of them.
Nice.
And I don't know what we'll end up doing with that car. Probably
Yeah.
go to his son, but
Yeah.
I've kind of
Yeah.
captured it myself.
That'd be great. Like, yeah, anytime, like, we'll make the trip. It's well worth it. Like, anytime you guys are going to be on track, it's going to be a treat. So we'll
Yeah.
definitely have to see that. So we'll have to be there. And
Used to have the play days. We go to Savannah and take all the toys and run them around.
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
we have to do that again.
Yeah, we could do a little bit of, like, we'll work with Brandon on that. Maybe
Yeah.
we can, like, run footage for you guys, and then we'll share footage, and that way you guys can have it and we can have the footage too. And, like, that'd be fun. That'd be a
We'd
fun
like
day.
to have the pros to do the
Yeah, that'd
that
be
kind
fun.
of stuff, because we the GoPros. I
Yeah.
used to hang them all under the car.
Yeah.
And
understand.
looking at axle angle or
Yeah.
this or that. I remember we lost one at Daytona once, and if somebody comes up with a camera, it wasn't ours. We have all of ours. I don't care what it costs. Let them have it.
Yeah, exactly.
And because well, this camera damaged my.
Yeah, exactly. This thing flew into my radiator.
Yeah. But yeah, it's good to have pros come in and line that stuff up.
Yeah, it'll
for
be
you.
fun. It'll be a good day for both of us. It'll be fun. I
It's
think.
funny. We used to put them at the feet.
Yeah.
Well, some of them drivers didn't want you to see the feet, because then transmission guys going to come over and say you're not using the clutch. And
You're not heel toeing properly here.
some of the Germans will put tape over it.
No, really?
But nowadays, you got data acquisition, and there's a clutch pressure switch.
Yeah,
You can
there's no
see every
hiding
time
anymore.
You touch it.
Yeah, there's no
And,
hiding anymore.
Oh, I shifted. I swear.
You're like, well,
That's
actually,
funny. You don't have any.
right here, all the way through, you didn't do anything. And they're like, I'm done racing for this team. Stop putting me against the wall.
Oh, you get it. It's according to the drivers you have, but we always had such good pros that we didn't have to worry about that too much.
Yeah.
Thank goodness.
Yeah, you guys are always great with selection. So.
And that's what it's all about, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Until you've been in it and drove with some of these guys, pros, it's unbelievable what a difference a driver makes.
Yeah, absolutely. And it goes back to, I think a lot of the people, I even talked to the lead engineer on the factory Porsche racing team. They not necessarily always have the fastest guys racing for them, but they have the guys that make the best team. Meaning like they complement each other the best, and they also have a good working relationship. Meaning like they don't hate each other. Like they're like, we'll work together, and they're like, hey man, when you go to third, it's going to make this weird thing, something that's shared between drivers. If you have two guys that don't like each other, he's not going to tell the other guy that. He's going to be like, yeah, have fun.
Well, I mean, you got to learn. I think Hurley learned. It's funny, he said Bob Wallach told him, just to, whenever they tell you anything, just say yes, don't.
Yeah.
And really, it's like the 936 when he won with Jackie X. Towards the end of the race, they lost a cylinder.
Mm-hmm.
And so they brought him in and got Hurley out of the car and put Barth in the car.
Mm-hmm.
Because he could talk to him about how to, he nurses around and they win.
Yeah.
A lot of drivers may have taken offense to that.
Yeah, exactly.
But
yeah, and like some other, like that's actually a great, like where even, you hear even F1 guys, modern guys, where, because they're running battery packs and all this kind of stuff, and like, hey, you're down on power, just manage the car now. Now you're a car manager.
Right.
Like you're like, hey, we're out front, and then you've got the crew chief coming in, like telling you how fast number 2's coming up. It's like, okay, you're 20 seconds up still. All right, you're 15 still. All right, give it more power. I know the car's wounded, but give it some more. You need to make up that 5 seconds now. You need to get it now. And okay, now ease back, manage the car, manage your tires, like that kind of stuff. And it's challenging. A lot of people that aren't in racing, that just look at racing and don't know the ins and outs of it, there's a lot going on there.
Yeah.
Fuel consumption, tire consumption, all of this stuff.
Just those kind of, in 09 when we won the 24-hour, David Donahue, the last lap, Montoya was right on him. Mm-hmm. And Mike Colucci made a call and told him to go to reserve. I remember the announcers goes, oh no, because they heard Colucci say, go to reserve, David. And just earlier that year, we'd ran out of gas at Montreal.
Yeah.
And
that's probably why the announcers were thinking that. They're like, okay, here we go again.
Yeah, that's exactly what they said. Oh no, when Mike Colucci says go to. Well, the car was so low on fuel, Mike Colucci didn't even want to stumble. Mm-hmm. And that could have given Montoya a chance to get by.
Just
so
enough,
go ahead and go to
Yeah.
reserve. If you run out of fuel on the last lap, big deal.
It is what it is.
But we don't even need the stumble.
Mm-hmm.
And as close as the race was, that stumble could have lost it for him.
Yeah.
So
that's the right call, because you think about it, like you said, if it stumbled and that was that tight, like that's enough. And then what's the point then? If you run out of gas, you already lost.
Right. Yeah. So
you might as well go all in and try to win still.
That was a great win for Brumos. That year we won the 24-hour, and we were first and third, and Montoya stuck between us. And I think Joel didn't get caught up in the bus stop. He may have spoiled both their days, because 59 was the fastest car on the track at the end of the race. But then we leave and go to Amelia Island, the Concours, and won overall with the Miller, the number 2 car in here.
Exactly.
The Junior 8 Special.
Mm-hmm.
09 was a great year.
Yeah, that was a really good year. I remember that year.
We were, after Bob had died in 07, it was a struggle for a few years. Mm-hmm. But that was probably the most emotional win.
Yeah, a lot of positivity that year after some negativity from 07.
And it just like, and in 08, we had that race. We had a 2-lap lead, 2 hours to go. And Joel comes out of the bus stop and goes up, and a piece of, it's just where the rear wishbone hooked to the gearbox broke off.
Yeah.
And, he spun right into the wall. But,
yeah.
And it was crazy. We had just beat the Ruby Tuesday car out of the pits and got another lap on them. And we hadn't watched any of the TV, and we watch it, and the guys come, I bet Bob Snodgrass is looking down on him. It wasn't 10 seconds after they said that.
Really?
And it was like,
Yeah.
So that was a pretty sad deal. But then next year, backing it up with the win was
yeah,
good.
that was nice.
And And you know what? That was when David Donahue won that. It was 40 years ago to the day that his dad had won it.
Really?
Wow. That's crazy.
So that's pretty crazy.
Yeah, there's some stuff working up there.
Yeah.
Like the automotive gods.
Yeah,
got
exactly.
together and go, Brumos needs a
It's
shot
time.
in the arm here.
Yeah,
and so
it's
does
time.
Donahue. But
Yeah.
that was one of our better moments.
Yeah, I mean, being in Jax and Daytona so close away, I mean, it really is like home field advantage. I mean, that's the home track, really.
It was. That's what we always considered our home
Yeah.
track. I mean, probably Watkins Glen was our favorite place. Bob Snodgrass was from up there.
Yeah.
And Mike Colucci as well.
Mm-hmm.
And Bob would have a blast when he'd go to Watkins Glen.
Yeah.
And because he was going home.
Yeah.
And I would always ride my motorcycle up there every year.
Oh, really?
7 years in a row, I
Really?
would ride up
Holy
just to have
crap.
the bike was up there.
You'd ride all the way up there, huh?
I've been in every state but Hawaii on
Yeah.
a couple of different motorcycles. Yeah,
Figure that one out. So
I'm a little nuts when it comes to that. But
that's awesome, though.
Yeah, Watkins Glen might have been our favorite. Road Americas, of course, a lot of people love it. But Daytona, you're right.
Yeah.
That was kind of our home track.
I mean, there's just like I can even see it on you guys when you're there. There's just a comfortability there. It probably goes back to test. You guys test there a lot too. You know what I mean? So there's a lot of comfortability, I think, there too. And I think, I mean, a lot of the drive. I mean, Hurley lives close. Like all of there's just a lot of, and honestly, like you kick off the season with that race. It's a well-known race, even if you don't pay attention to racing. So it's one of like the Super Bowl at the beginning of the year, essentially.
Yep.
So.
Yeah, in 2002, the prototype, before we ever ran it, we did a 27-hour test. We had the track completely to ourselves down there. Yeah. Parked one of the sprinters right behind the wall. It was freezing cold in December, and we would just sit in the sprinter while they go out and make some laps, and then we'd come in. We'd all bail out and go over there and do stuff to the car. And I had this numb hand, so my job was to always tighten this oil fitting that kept coming up. But that was a lot of fun. And I remember Hurley and I think Scott Goodyear was there testing with us. But Hurley would just do 152s, 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 152.3, 152.33. And Colucci's like, damn, Hurley, watching the thing.
Exactly.
But, of course, there's no other cars on the track. They get in that rhythm. But we ran that
like
thing
clockwork.
for 27 hours.
Really?
At Daytona. But when you mentioned testing there,
Yeah.
that was a big deal.
Yeah.
Of course, that was kind of France's program, and he wanted to see it kick off good. And like I say, everybody has their feelings about Daytona prototypes, but
Yeah.
they were
But
a little closer to
I
me
agree
than
with
they
you
were to
because
others.
I enjoy racing a lot and even racing history, and I think if you pay attention to racing, you understand it. It was a bridge car. It bridged a gap that needed to be bridged.
That's true. That's a good point.
Because had that car and Daytona prototypes not come around, what would that look like now? Because it might have just fallen flat.
Yeah, I mean, you had the WSC cars, and they were kind of the end of that.
Yeah.
And I did like that because they were open cockpit cars. But, man, Daytona in January is not the best place to be in an open cockpit car. But it's Florida.
Yeah.
It's cold.
Well, that's the thing is, like, we're all from this area, and we understand it. And it's like, you don't know what you're going to get. You can get 40 degrees with 20-mile-an-hour winds.
And rain.
It can be 70 and torrential downpour. It could be sunshiny and 80.
Yeah.
Like
All in 24 hours.
All of those things can happen in a weekend.
That's right. They may all happen in one race.
Yeah.
But,
and that's what a lot of people outside who never even go to that race. I mean, shit, just a few years ago, remember how cold it was? Like that, and it was rainy and cold at the start of the race.
Yeah.
I mean, it was frigid. It hadn't been that cold in a long. It was like
That's just,
38
4 years
degrees.
ago or
Yeah, it
something.
was like
Yeah.
38 degrees. I'm like, this is ridiculous.
2000, when we ran the first water cooled cars, that was one of the coldest that I remember. It was just stupid cold. But we were taking water pumps off of cars out in the parking lot. Porsche had ran out of.
Yeah.
They changed like 19 water pumps during the race.
God.
And it was a sand cast problem. And
Yeah.
of course they cured it the next year. But
Yeah, it wasn't helping you at that time.
no. But what was good is you enjoyed going out and putting a water pump on the car because you could warm up a little bit around the engine.
Exactly. You were just like,
Oh, it was freezing cold.
Yeah, and that's the dirty work that nobody, the non-glamorous side of racing, everybody thinks is like, oh, it's sexy. You know, you get in the car's awesome, you go fast and all this stuff, and you're like, you think about, okay, if you're on that team and you're part of the pit crew when it's rainy and it's nasty and it's cold and it's 2 a.m. or 3 a.m. and you're changing parts on the car and you're exhausted and you're beat up, is it sexy now? No, it's not.
Yeah, you're exactly right. They should be. 04 was a real rainy year at the 24-hour, and we had all kinds of problems. And it's 3 o'clock in the morning, and we're beating on something or the rear suspension behind the wall. Bob comes over and he goes, "That's it. We're pulling the car. I'm not coming in tomorrow morning and us be 36, running around 20 laps down. Yeah. We're done." Well, me and Derek Grannison's beating on the thing. We're still in it.
Yeah.
He grabs us by the collar and pulls us back. I told you you're done.
Yeah. He's like, stop.
But, you know, we get in that, man, you don't want to quit.
Yeah. Well, of course not. You prep all year for all year for that. You don't. You're just like, look, we're here to race, man. Like, let us go. Like, it doesn't matter. Like,
but he had a good point. It's pouring down rain. I'm not going to put a driver in the car. Go back out there.
Yeah.
Y'all beating on this. You don't know what, you know.
Well, you know, to his credit, he's not in the moment like you guys are. So he has he has an opportunity to evaluate it kind of from a distance to say, look, this doesn't make sense. Like, we're down by so much. We're going to jeopardize somebody getting in the car. We're going to jeopardize losing the car too on top of it. So no, we're going to retire. Yeah. We're done.
Well, you know,
and sometimes, you know,
that's why you need somebody like that to make those decisions.
Yeah, and unfortunately, you know, when you're in the heat of the moment, it's hard to make that call because, you know, you're fighting. You think there's a chance still. You want to be optimistic. Yeah. You're like, we're going to fight back. You know, we're going to get a caution. People are going to crash. We're going to be okay. We're going to get back in. You're like, no, we're not.
Yeah. Well, you know, I think your goal down there for a mechanic is to finish the race.
Yeah.
But,
well, it's so grueling, right? Like,
yeah.
So it's like there's pride in the car finishing to begin with. That's step one, and then obviously you want to win. But yeah, step one's like, hey, the car finished. Like, we did what we were supposed to do.
Yeah, but you know, it's crazy because back in the day, you go down a few laps and you'd always make them up.
Mm-hmm.
They had that chance. But it's become a sprint race almost now from the start.
Oh yeah, once you get out front, see ya.
Yeah, because they, you know, you get 2 or 3 laps down and you're probably done.
Mm-hmm.
Back in the day, 2 or 3 laps, I will make that up.
Yeah, like you need a miracle now if you go like 3 or 4 laps down.
But the cars are better. The oils are better. Lubricants are all better.
Yeah, the reliability is better.
Everything is better.
So like to have a failure on a car nowadays as opposed to back in the day is very slim.
Let's think about it. Early in my career, you changed spark plugs at about 7,500 miles. You take them out at 100,000 miles now, and they look brand new.
Exactly.
So it's just a huge difference.
Yeah, cars are running cleaner. It's just, I mean, now it's all games, right? Like we actually talked about this on a podcast before. It's like now it's the BOP game, right? That's mainly what it is now. That's really right. It is. It's maintain like the cars are, you know, minus like somebody, you know, crashing you and putting you out in the wall or doing something else. If you run it, everybody runs a clean race. It really comes down to BOP. If your car got BOP'd too much, then you're probably not going to be able to make up the time. And whoever didn't get BOP'd are going to be your front runners. That's basically what it boils down to.
It is.
It's a shame, but that's where it's at.
Well, like I say, it's a sprint race from the go.
Mm-hmm.
And but I mean, that was probably Hurley's always. And that's another thing about Hurley. He's seen it from back when you were stirring paint, shifting gears to the latest.
Yeah.
And kind of their way with mechanic business. When we first got in, we had old antique ignition systems. They just started CIS, and we went through all these. So there's a lot of changes you got to see, but Hurley, he really went through a period that because cars were a lot the same up till a certain point, but there were huge differences between, say, middle 70s to the middle 90s.
Oh yeah, I mean the leaps that were made between that too,
and production cars in the same
and the way they made power too, because he was driving like 1,000 horsepower, prototypes at in Le Mans, open cockpit cars, and it's like and that a short wheelbase, and then you going back to like something is regulated to 500 horsepower. Like it must have felt slow for him to like get back in a car like that. He's like, I can get out and run faster than this. Like
his favorite race car, he'll tell you, is the 936 that he run, not the one he won in. But when he went back, I think in '81, they ran the 936 again. but they run the IndyCar motor in it.
Okay.
And I think that he thought that was his sweetest race car.
Mm-hmm.
The one I won with in '77 would have been my sweetest race car. But
yeah, me too.
but,
that would have been my favorite
yeah,
one. I was like, this one's the winner.
He likes this little 43 car. I keep telling this early. You don't realize '77 that year did for you.
Yeah, I guess not.
Okay.
Maybe we'll convince him, huh? Like, yeah, because that was a big one.
Le Mans and Daytona.
Like we talked about earlier. I mean, like that was like a pinpoint on the map where it really changed the trajectory of his life.
Yeah, I agree. And neither car had a thing to do with Brumos.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah,
I mean, that was Hurley, but
yeah.
We broadcasted it anyway.
Yeah.
That's Hurley. That's
Of course.
Brumos.
Well, that's your
Hurley
guy.
Haywood.
What's your guy?
Yeah. But,
I mean, yeah. Why not? Right?
yeah. Hurley Haywood, our resident speed midget. Love the guy.
Such a good guy. Well, Don, thank you so much for being on the show, and thank you for spending time today with us. Man, what an honor to have you on. Such a legend.
It was fun.
Yeah, it was a good time, and we're definitely
Thanks.
going to come visit you again, 100%.
Gotta come work with us.
Yeah.
We have fun.
I would
back
love.
here.
Hey, put me to work, man. I'll come in here and mop the
Not
floors.
done with the 959 yet.
Yeah.
A little more work.
Lots of parts.
Yeah, there we go. Well, I don't have anything else, and we'll see you guys on the next one.
That's it. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of PCAR Talk. Connect with us on Instagram at PCAR Talk or online at pcartalk.com.